What's up, everybody? Lexicon here. I am going to preface this episode by saying that we had some technical difficulties last night when we were recording the show live. Basically, I was trying out a new mic, and as you can tell, this is the new mic right here. Sounds clear, sounds good, but the people listening live couldn't hear me. They could only hear Lee. And when I went to look at the audio after we did the show, for that period of time, you could only hear me on the recording and not Lee. So I switched headsets quickly after about a couple of minutes. So we didn't lose much of the show, just a few minutes in the beginning, but just wanted to warn you that's why there's no intro on this one. I guess this is the intro, but hopefully we can get this all sorted out and use this new mic, because obviously it's, as you can tell, it sounds pretty clear. So I want to be able to use this quality on the show. But yeah, just listen to what we did capture, and hopefully you enjoy it. Thanks. All right, let's see. Can you hear
We'll
me?
figure it out. We'll fool with it after, or either another time, and then we'll get it.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Uh-huh.
Oh, you can?
Sound like that commercial. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Fucking. Oh, hell.
I finally found that Kevin Steen versus Samoa Joe match that I had been looking for. That happened some years ago. Well, I'd never seen him. I had only saw a clip, but evidently, I don't know if this is the real Kevin Steen or not. I'm guessing it is, but
The real
if this
Kevin
is-
Steen? Is there like a doppelganger out there?
well, no. I'm wondering this YouTube page. I'm wondering if it's his or if it's someone
Okay, I
that's
see.
using it. Especially after listening to what Davey Richards said and with that Twitter thing that you're linked. Remember with Davey Richards and Kevin Steen talking about Davey's Twitter?
Yeah.
So now I question a lot of stuff. I mean, I did before, but now more so now than ever. But whoever this person is posting old PWG, like the whole matches, and PWG is something you can't find, and it's on YouTube. So I'm like, if it's Kevin Steen, he could get away with something like this, but. And I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's like 9 matches that are on here, and actually, let's see, 9 matches on here. They have let me see, the Nightmare Violence Connection versus the Young Bucks, Nightmare Violence Connection versus the Kings of Wrestling. I don't know who Nightmare Violence Connection is. I have to look it up. Dinerico versus Super Dragon and Davey Richards. Kevin Steen versus Super Dragon. Kevin Steen versus Samoa Joe. Kevin Steen versus Chris Hero, Kevin Steen versus Pac, Kevin Steen versus Davey Richards, and Kevin Steen versus Tozawa. So, it was all of his stuff, and this isn't him because it says country is the Ukraine. This is a fan, and maybe they're getting away with it because they're in another country.
I think he does have his own YouTube. And I'm not sure, but it's possible because Chris Hero, I know, has his own YouTube, and there's a couple other guys that have their own YouTube.
Well, if you want to see any of these videos, and they were all posted a day ago, like all 9 of these matches, PWG matches, were posted a day ago, and I just stumbled upon this. Like I wasn't even looking for it, so I posted it inside of the Ringside Report Facebook group. So if you're not a part of that group, everyone, and you want to see these videos, you gotta be a member of that. So
Absolutely. In fact, I wanted to do that at the beginning of the show and the end of the show this time, because I understand that some people might not make it all the way through. Maybe they have to, leave for work or something. They can't listen to the whole show. So you can find us on Facebook. You can search the Ringside Report, or you can go facebook.com/group/Ringside Report, and we should be it. Or I think it's facebook.com/Ringside Report should do. One of those two. You'll find us there. We post all of our cool stuff on there. Just got a new logo this past week. Lee likes to post pictures of Matt Taven and
that shit was so hard. You see Taven's face? They completely gave him a character. They completely gave him something outside of Paulie Shore. Completely in one night.
It's burned into my skull. I can't get rid of that face. I just can't. He also posted something from Cops, which really took me back, because and this wasn't too long ago, but a couple years ago when I had cable, I used to love just Saturday night watching Cops. I don't know why. It's not the most stimulating show in the world, and it's not like, because you posted one where you got this midget that looks like Beetlejuice, and he's like, I want to break these cuffs. I want to break these cuffs. And it's not always like that. You know, you have some pretty tame episodes, but it's just kind of like hanging out and just, it's like hanging out on the street and seeing someone, you know, something happen. Or whatever.
It's one of those shows where you have nothing else. I mean, you just watch it out of habit after a while. It's kind of like Cheaters and stuff like that. Like, it's like, oh that's coming on.
Great.
Then after a while, it's a guilty pleasure. You don't want anybody to know you have it. Like, I know my parents for a while, they would sit up until like 2 o'clock on a Saturday and watch Cheaters, and it's something they obviously didn't want me or anybody else to know about. They kind of slipped and be like, oh, let me tell you what happened on, a good one must have happened. Let me tell you what happened on Cheaters. And I'm like, oh, Cheaters. You know, this was 10 years ago, but now they're just stuck on the game show network. That's what happens when you get older. But with this episode, I never forget this one, because I wasn't watching Cops back then, but I remember when this all happened. And evidently this midget, he was like a pimp, or he was pimping himself. He was dressed like a pimp, but he was pimping himself, and the police had chased him. And if anybody can find this video, it should still be on there somewhere, but people have done remixes and parodies of it now, so it's probably hard to find the original in its entirety. But anyway, so he runs from the police officers, and he climbs up a light post, like all the way up a light post to the top. And the police tries to go after him. Then he finally comes down, and it gets to the point where he runs from the police. And I don't know if Lex has done this or not, and I know someone has seen this, but having young children, they'll go in a store and like they'll just take off, and you got to chase your child. Well, he takes off, and the police officer chases him, and when they catch up with him, they grab him by his arm, and because he's a midget, they lift him off his feet, and he swings. He swings in the air, right? But the police officer is still running from the momentum of trying to catch up with him. So it looks like child abuse from a distance, right? So they swing him, and when they finally get him, they handcuff him and have him against the squad car. So the police are like, you know, what are you doing? What was all that? He was like, why is everyone trying to stop me from making my money? I could break these cuffs. And the police officer's like, you can't break those cuffs. And then he's like, rah! like the Hulk. It's the greatest thing. I watched it about 100 times.
Oh, man. Oh, God.
I could break these cuffs.
I love the drunken rednecks. That's my thing. I really like that. Or when they're over here on the West Coast, like in Sacramento or whatever, and they get the gangster thug Latino guys, and they've always got this strange story about how they're engaged to their girlfriend and they're living with their girlfriend's parents, and then the girlfriend's parents kick them out, and this and that. I love that shit. You can't do better television than that. In fact, I'd go so far as to say I like the show they have, or had, I don't know if they still have it on Spike, called Jail, where it's like Cops, from the same guy that did Cops, but it's all inside, you know, a jail, well, wherever it is, you know, Texas or whatever. But it's so fucking funny. All it is people getting booked, and it shows them, you know, if they're sober, if they're drunk, if they're high, whatever, and you just get to see this process, and it's so much more entertaining than it sounds. But Cheaters is my thing. I love Cheaters.
You know which one I did like, and I didn't. Of course, this all came on. I didn't have cable, so I would have to like find a way to do it. I have to go to my parents' house and watch it. But they had this show. I don't know if it still comes on, where they would have these. There's something that was similar that would happen like on the court shows, or like Jenny Jones when that used to come on. But they would have these badass kids, and they would send them to jail, and they would tell them that they were going to. It was called I don't know what it was called, but they would send them to jail for like a day. And when they first get there, they would be talking back to the cops. And the funniest ones is when they would have like this group of girls, and you see them getting in this, talking back to their parents and cussing their parents out and stuff. And even like the correctional officers, all the COs, and then they end up in this prison. And then they meet these lesbians who would look like more manly than you or I. Like, you have to take a double take and be like, wait a minute, hold up, something's off. That's not a man. And they'd be like, yeah, you come in here, I'm gonna make you my bitch. Yeah, you come in here, and I'm gonna show you better not raise your hand up at me. And these girls be, they would be terrified. And then they get one of the correctional officers come back and be like, you know what, I mean, we just gonna have to leave you in here for another day. You can just spend the night here, and these girls that thought they were all at, not having common sense and realizing like, okay, I'm 16 years old, I haven't done anything, so there's no way they're gonna leave me in here. But they are so terrified by the environment. I think it came like on A&E or something, but it was the coolest show.
Yeah, they have that on Netflix. I've watched a couple episodes, and it's always fun.
It's called Scared Stupid or something, or Scared Straight.
Beyond Scared Straight.
That's it.
And what's so funny is that it's almost like a game show, because you have, let's say you have like 6 kids that show up there, and they're all trying to prove to each other, they're all trying to see who can last the longest without breaking, So you have one kid that's like, he won't break for anything. And then at the end of the show, he finally breaks, and they have this big breakthrough moment, this and that.
With their parents and stuff, and they come back on. Yeah. Because the episode I saw was, I don't remember what it was. It was a Hispanic inmate, lesbian, that she came in there, and the girl was getting smart with it. She's like, what? Go ahead, do it. Raise your hands. I want you to. I will fold you up like a piece of paper. I never forget that. That was the funniest thing.
Oh, God.
That shit was so funny. She's like, I will fold you up like a piece of paper.
This whole conversation was worth it just to hear you do that accent.
Because it was the funniest thing. Like, oh my gosh, it came out of nowhere, because these children thought they were so hard. They never irritate. Like, I don't know how you were in school. Hopefully you weren't like this. You don't appear. I can't imagine you, but like as a child, we all were mischievous. We had a little bit, I had respect for adults, and I may have said something under my breath behind my back, but I wasn't just blatantly going to disrespect an adult. But some of the stuff these children do, and say to just the blatant disrespect, and just for just older people for no apparent reason. Like, it's not like this older person that's come to them and disrespected them or whatever, but just for no reason, like, get your ass out the way, who the hell, all this stuff. And they think they so hard, and then they get on this show and they crying and whining, and I just want to go home to my mommy. I'm like, what in the world? This is ridiculous. But she got up in her face, and she was like, the sad part was the one girl went to the jail, and this was cold. This was cold, Lex. The one girl shows up at the jail, right? And why was one of the inmates her mother? That was cruddy, yo. Come on now. And then when she get back, all her friends gonna get on her about that.
Yeah, probably. And she'll probably end up there anyway. But as long as they got their ratings, it is what it is. And people.
Hold on. Lex. I'm sorry. Keep talking. I'm gonna send you a link, and I want you to. I just want you to go to 8 to 17 seconds. It's from the 17-second mark until the 21-second mark. It's only 4 seconds long. Okay, you don't have to play it on the air now, but I just want you to. Oh my God, I'm gonna choke. I'm gonna choke. Because I watched this I watched it on demand at my parents' house, and I had to keep watching it over and over again. Because she was in this girl's space, and this was a big girl. Like, this was. This girl, like she was all, she was in her space, yo.
Okay,
and she's like.
So you said 17 seconds?
Go to 17 seconds.
Here we go. It's going to play, I think, over the air. Let's see.
I'll fold you like a piece of paper in prison.
I think I'm gonna link it. I'm gonna link it in the chat, because I think what puts it over the top is how this chick looks with her with her Sean Stasiak cut and
yes. And the highlights. She's like, keep talking. I will fold you like a piece of paper. They were in the jail cooking grilled cheese sandwiches in brown paper bags. I'm getting busy.
This is the hardest I've ever heard you laugh, and
Oh my god.
I think episode 46 has been the perfect promo for Beyond Scared Straight. By the way, we deserve some money for this. This is putting the show over like gangbusters right now.
Lex, oh my god. They were cooking. Oh my god. They were cooking grilled cheese sandwiches and brown paper patties. Oh my god, I can't breathe. Oh my god.
Do you need a second?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my, I wouldn't even want to stay in there. Oh my god. I can't.
Of course
keep
not.
talking. I will fold you like a piece of paper. Oh my god. Y'all gotta see this clip. Wait a minute, hold on. Wait a minute, let me see something. Let me, Lex, don't say nothing, Lex. Wait a minute, hold on. Lex, play it from 14 seconds. Play it from 14 seconds, Lex. Just play it one more time from oh
right,
god.
Here we go.
Ellie of the beast.
We're gonna keep you out of prison.
Swing. I'll fold you like a piece of paper.
In prison, no one cares about you.
Beyond Scared Straight, series premiere, Thursday, January 13th at 10, only on A&E.
This is your favorite show. We've learned that today. This is your favorite show. You can't say anything about any other show because no other show has given you this much joy. That's the truth.
Oh my gosh, when that little boy, when that one dude thought he was gonna get raped at that Jessup prison, and Mace was like, let him in, he's outside the gate bawling. Gosh. This is just something. Every now and then they would get an inmate, that'd be like, I've been doing this, and, I don't want you ending up in here like me. But then they would get those ones who you can look into their eyes and tell that they looking at these children like fresh meat. Like, they don't care that they on TV, they don't see no cameras, they don't care that this is a show. They like, just please let me touch them. And the only thing standing between them and these children is that
the camera people who are probably,
oh, they ain't gonna do shit. They ain't gonna do nothing. They scared to be in there themselves. Oh my god. You see some of these jails they went to? I mean, these are like, facilities. These ain't even detention centers. I mean, these people looking like, this mixtures of all types of stuff in there. And you got these children that's in there. You got motherfuckers, you got people that in there for murder mixed with people that's in there for income tax evasion. And then you got these children that show up there because they don't know how to respect their parents. And you always get that one that tries to hold out. And like, I ain't scared. Yeah. Leave me in here. I don't care. Leave me in here. And then you see an inmate take them off around a corner somewhere, and they come back all organized and in line.
Oh my god.
Remember that episode of Boondocks when he was like, drop the soap? Oh my god.
That's something I've always wondered though, like the cameramen that get these shitty jobs where they have to, follow cops, or if they have to go in these jail places. Like, it either has to be really, really, really good pay or the promise of a really good job afterwards. Because I don't care how, sadistic you are, nobody wants to go in there with those people. They're telling you you're going to get ass raped.
I wouldn't go. There's no way in the world I would go. Like, what if they have a ride in there? There's no way in the world I would go in there. I don't care how much. Like, you see cops not cops, cheaters, for example. And you know them cameramen. You got them cameramen. They're trucking it. They got the camera shaking and stuff. It looks like you're watching what is it called? The Blair Witch Project. They got the cameraman running up to the house trying to catch the person. And one of those hosts from Cheaters legitimately got stabbed. Like, he straight up really got stabbed by something.
Joey Greco, the main dude. Yeah, he got gutted, and he came back. He came back to host it. It's like that's his calling or whatever. But what I love about that is they always seem to do it in Texas. Always. Always seem to do it in Texas. And the people down there are just nuts. You get
no, you know what? Let me tell you something. With cops, those people better be glad that they had a camera crew there. Yeah. Because you could tell some of these cops, you could look at some of these cops and you could tell like they looking like, damn, why the camera here? Because some of them police officers, that camera wasn't on, they'd have beat them people ass out in that street.
Oh, yeah.
And some of them don't care. Some of them still be slamming people and all this other stuff.
That's true. That's true. Usually with cops, it's like, the heavy areas are like Florida, Texas, and Vegas. Those are like the heavy areas. I don't ever see them going to like your neck of the woods, Baltimore. You never see them in New York or whatever. But
because we live in cops. We live in cops. I'm gonna send you a video for you to watch tomorrow. I'm gonna just send you a message on Facebook. You watch tomorrow. There's a video of there's a place in about 5 minutes away from where I live at. It's right in Towson, Maryland, which is a suburb in Baltimore, in Maryland rather. And I kid you not, and this video is like 2 minutes long, and you see 22 police cars, 22 police cars speeding by, trying to get to something. 22. So I mean, see, that stuff happens in Texas. For that show, cops, they have to drive around and look for stuff. These police look annoyed because they were watching a TV show or something and they had to leave and go and find out what was going on. Police officers here, that's nothing for them. They just put out fires their whole shift. These police officers on cops, they're like, oh, gotta get back here. This fella looks like we got a domestic dispute. The wife stabbed the husband because he didn't bring home the topsoil. Stuff like that. And then they get there and then the police officer, the husband all up in the police officer's face like, get out of my house. The police got to slam them. Then the wife jumps on the police officer's back. Don't touch him. Get off of him. But she the one that called in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I love, though. I like because you won't get that in Baltimore. You know, they're not going to go out to the old trailer. At least I don't think so.
Well, they have here, but we don't. I mean, I don't think we hear about that too much. Yeah. I think what goes on in the city overshadows everything else.
Yeah, of course. God damn, that dude's made some good TV though, and
I could break these cuffs. I'm sorry, you can't break those cuffs. And then he turned into the Incredible Hulk.
I love the guys that get pulled over and they're like, have you been doing anything tonight? No, I haven't been doing anything. You know he's going to search your car. You know he's going to search that car. Just tell the guy right away so he doesn't have to be all like...
Well, the thing is, they're on camera, so why don't he say, no, you can't search it, and at least it's documented. It's on camera, documented. I mean, they'll probably erase it, but, you can be like, no, I don't consent to searches.
Well, something.
And, I mean, they could do it anyway, but still, I mean.
Something you can't do on camera though is pick up smell. So if they smell marijuana or whatever it is, or alcohol in the breath, they can search the car. So it's like if you've been drinking.
Well, the thing is, you can refuse a breathalyzer, but they always take it. And the reason why I'm gonna tell you this for people who's on the air too, if ever a police officer asks you to take a breathalyzer, even if you have not, and I mean, I'm not drinking and driving. I don't drink, So the thing is that if a police officer pulls you over and like, I think you've been drinking, take this breathalyzer. Don't take it because for one, it's alcohol residue in a lot of those breathalyzers. So you'll come up with a negative result and you ain't even touched enough.
Have you ever had your run-ins with the police?
Yeah, I did. I had back in 1998. I went to Hunt Valley Mall. This is back when it was a mall that was a dying mall because they opened up a bigger mall. And for my niece and nephew, it was in December. I was trying to find them some Christmas gifts, and I was walking around the mall. They had just built a movie theater. I was like, oh, that's where the movie theater is. And I had on some, remember back in the day, camouflage pants for kind of bit. Well, I don't know, different parts of the country, but we used to wear camouflage pants. So at this point, you know, I had a close-cut haircut, tall, light skin, you know, and I'm in the store. So I'm walking down, and the security guard's following me. And I didn't pay anything of it, and I'm about to go out the door, and I should have kept going. I stopped, and I was like, oh, I can get this for them. And next thing I know, I see these police officers, and they walk by me. I'm looking at them. They looking at me. I'm like, you know, hello. I speak to them. I hadn't done anything, so I spoke, and they spoke to me. And as soon as they passed me, they turned around and grabbed me.
Oh, shit.
And they're like, you know, what do you got? Have you got a gun? You got a gun? Searching me, right? So I'm like, no. Like, what do you got on you? You sure you don't have a gun? Am I sure I don't have a gun? I was like, I got a fucking Tamagotchi in my pocket and my wallet, and that's all I have. So, you know, they're like, you know, they got me standing there, and they called, and yeah, we don't know if we have them or not. Yeah, you fit the description because I had the pants on, but the guy they were looking for had locks, was dark skinned, and was short. Then they said he was like 5'8", and
They were profiling.
yeah, they were profiling. So when I get back home, I'm all like, you know, pissed off and everything. I was like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? So I'm like, I tell them, oh, hell no. So we get in the car, drive all the way back out there, go to the police station. They're like, well, you know, and they, I mean, the law enforcement and everything, they always going to have a way out. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, you just got to make sure you document, get badge numbers and all that stuff. Just in case, I mean, yeah, I mean, they could have went about it a little differently. The way I see it is if they thought I did something wrong, once they were walking towards me, they should have just grabbed me then. Why are you going to speak to me, and then as soon as I leave, you're going to hem me up? Got me posted all up on a corner of the wall. And then one, I made this comment, well, I bet you won't come out to this mall again, will you?
Oh, God.
See, that's a little trifling shit they say. You know what I'm saying?
Jesus
But it's like, whatever. That's why get yourself a Black's Law Dictionary. Know the law. Know your rights. Know what they can and can't do. Like when you be places and the police be like, oh, you can't film this. You can't film this. If you're on public property, you can film whatever. And police officers are public servants. If you like, you know, give me your badge number. They ask you your name. You don't have to give me your name. They want you, what's your name? What's your business here? Like, I don't have to tell me your name. You can take the whole thing from your cell phone. And the beauty of it is that you might get shot. But the beauty of it is that you can upload something to your YouTube in a matter of seconds. I mean, I love put something up there.
Yeah, I mean, around here especially, we get a lot of police. I wouldn't call it police brutality, but we get a lot of police, you know, extra activity going on, and people film it with their phones and, you know, upload it. And we've had a couple of cases of that. And of course, we had that famous thing where, you know, the Oakland PD shot a couple of people.
Shot that dude.
Yeah.
He killed him in the on the subway or the train. Or something?
It's called it's basically a above ground train. It's called the BART, and yeah, they were all just sitting there. And dude just shot him. It's crazy.
The dude was sitting there like wasn't even facing the officer, and the officer, you can go on YouTube and watch the video. Yeah. An officer for no reason at all. Guy wasn't resisting arrest or anything, just sitting there, pulls out his gun and just pops him.
Yep.
For no reason. And then when they tried to protest, they did a peaceful protest. They called it a peaceful protest. And the day it happened, I remember I was looking at pictures and videos and stuff when they did the protest for you know, because this is around the time they were doing a trial for these officers. That one in particular, they had people there in riot gear, and these people were like, you know, they were there to make a point. It had to be a peaceful protest. It wasn't anything where they were up there rallying or trying to cause any type of whatever it was. And the police officers didn't want them there, period. But yeah, I couldn't believe what I was watching. You would think you saw something out of a movie. A movie wouldn't even have did something like that. Yo, pull his gun out. Dude laying on the ground, stomach down, not resisting, just following the orders of whether the guy was guilty or not. No, I don't know why they were stopped. Police officer just pulled his shit out and was like, "Oh, you ain't going home today."
Well,
bam.
That's Oakland for you. And, you know, if I had my way, they'd just blow the whole city up, and
start all over again because that place is bad. That's real bad. I don't,
Damn, you like one. You like straight up like conservative Republican type person where you want white people off the face of the earth? Are you a subculture?
Not at all.
Are you Tea Party? Are you Tea Party?
Well, what's funny is you got San Francisco, and then literally you have land of water, a massive water separating San Francisco and Oakland. There's a bridge that connects the two, and they're so different. It's crazy. Because over in San Francisco, you have high immigration of. There's a lot of Chinese and a lot of Russian people there. And then over in Oakland, it's like no immigration at all. Yet it's 1,000 times worse than San Francisco. Of course, San Francisco has a lot of transplants, though. People that aren't from there, move there for jobs and whatever. Nobody moves to Oakland for a job. Unless you're a football or, baseball player, you don't move to Oakland for a job. You just don't do that.
Y'all don't like each other there, do you? Like different parts of, like Northern California don't like.
Well, the thing is, like Southern California, we'll call it LA, because that's pretty much it down there. But LA thinks that we're, cow people, that all we do is farm, et cetera, et cetera. We think they're all celebrities who have crack addictions, and it's kind of clashes. In fact, I don't know if you heard this, but a while back, and I think it still might be in action. They were trying to separate us to make two different states.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so you'd have a North California and a South California, but I don't think that's going to happen. Though, it could. Because I think we're in so much debt right now or something like that.
Do you even consider yourself at a certain point? I mean, like, if you show me pictures and stuff of where you live, or just like, I wouldn't even say California. I would think like straight up, oh, you live in like Oregon or something, or somewhere else. Like before, I never even considered it. It's kind of like the way I treated where you live. Like when I first had listened to the rant and Double A would make jokes and stuff about you being out in the sticks in California and stuff. That just went to show my ignorance, because I just always in my mind, when you think of California, you always think kind of like you may think about New York. There's like Albany and different places in New York that's different than the city.
Yeah, like
but
upstate is way different than.
It's way different. It's kind of like people who think everybody in Africa's damn chucking spears and shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like in school, if you like the school side, it's like, oh, Africa, people live in huts and this, that, and the other. And then you get older and you start doing your own research when you get like a 5th grade or whatever. And you're like, oh, damn, it's not like that.
Yeah.
And that's how it is.
I probably live like 3 or 4 hours away from the Oregon border.
You live 3 or 4 hours away from everything.
Yeah, 3 or 4 hours from Oregon, 3 or 4 hours from Sacramento, and San Francisco, San Jose, Oakland.
No, I didn't mean that as a good thing. I mean, like, I've never seen you say something is down the street. Every time you tell me where something is, it's always an hour away at least.
Yeah, but, like, I could, either way, like, I could go to, maybe not Las Vegas, but, like, Reno, Nevada. I can go up to Oregon. Everything's pretty centrally located as far as on the grand scheme, but like I'm showing everybody on Google Maps right now because my screen is projected into the chat and everything.
Like Reno 911, that's where you.
Oh, I that's a great show, by the way. But
Niecy Nash, I heard she's not on there no more. Fat ass.
That show's done. I think. I don't think it's.
Nah, they got somebody else. I think went on there, unless that was cheap. They were.
I don't have cable anymore, so I have no clue. But I think they ended that a couple years ago. Maybe. I don't know. But, let me zoom into my place. Because I showed you Red Bluff last week when we were off the show. And, and looking at it from, like, the top-down view and everything like that. See, I live, for those watching the screen, I live right there. That little strip of road. But there's so much, like, dead land all around it. And to see where you live, you go over where you live, I thought I thought it was going to be a lot more concrete than it was. You actually have a lot of greenery around there too, but go down into the city itself, and it's so congested.
Oh hell yeah! I mean, if I would have put in, see, I'm having issues with getting into the chat. If I were to give you a video and you put it in the chat, people would see like what the city looks like.
Right.
Like it is exactly what you said. It's complete. Like if you saw this video, if someone told you this was New York, you would think it was New York.
Yeah.
Literally, is a church in a corner store on every corner. Like that's just the way it is. Like it's just somebody took a video where they're just driving through Baltimore. They're just driving through, and it is so damn tight. And I mean, you can stick that one in the chat for people if they want to see a drive through. And this is Baltimore City. I don't live in the city anymore. I live in the county now, but I grew up in the city.
You're in the suburbs now.
I mean, I showed you the first video that it's congested no matter. I mean, whether it's city or not. I mean, it's still a lot of stuff. There are places where you can go, and there are places that we have here that's like 5 minutes away from my house, where there's a house and then you drive like.
It's just like you look at the roads, because all the roads are in yellow and everything on this, and it's just mind-boggling how you can navigate these fucking things. Because you have to go into the city regularly, don't you?
No, I do a lot of my stuff through beltways and back roads. I mean, when you've been here for a while, you find back roads to go to. Like I said, I don't live in a city anymore, but when I did, the bad part was that you had to. It's kind of like DC. In Washington D.C., they're notorious for this. Baltimore, in certain areas, where you'll get to a place where there are a lot of one ways. So if you miss your turn, you got to drive for like 3 or 4 blocks before you can turn, and then you got to make a complete U-turn. And it's just, and if you do this on a day where it's rush hour, or you do it when it's raining out, or if you're in an area you don't know where you're going, or better yet, you're in a place where there's no parking, like. And that was the problem when a lot of people lived when we had those blizzards in 2010 and 2011. A couple of issues that people were having was they had nowhere to park, so they had to dump the snow in the harbor. And when they built these places when they first built these places, people didn't have cars. They had carriages and stuff like that. So, they got as much as they could get in. And even back in like the 60s and 70s, everyone didn't have a car. A lot of people rode public transportation. So, there wasn't an issue with parking cars on the street. Now everybody has a car. So people just don't have a place to park. And, and then they have situations where like, I tell you who gets it rough. People who live like by the stadiums, people who live by like, M&T Stadium and, Camden, Orioles Park and Camden Yards. Yeah. They have issues because, you have to have a permit, to park down there. So like if you live down there, you would have a assigned spot. And if you had guests over, they would just have to find a place to park, because they had to do it that way because, people were coming in from out of town and coming to ball games and stuff, and people would come home from work and they couldn't park their cars in front of their doors, or couldn't park even on their street because people would be at a ball game and they took their parking spot. So,
speaking of cars, I did get directions to your place from my place. And,
how long would it take?
It'd take about 41 hours.
Oh, that ain't bad. I wouldn't know about driving though, because every time I think about going cross country driving, I think about that scene in what was that movie when they went across the country? Road Trip. And they got to that one place where it was like a
Horatio Sands sticking the sandwich down his pants, or the French toast down his pants.
No, not that scene. I remember that, but not that scene. I was thinking about the scene where they got to like this place where they had to like the bridge wasn't there anymore, and they had to find out how to, like they couldn't take the car across, so they had to like back the car up, and I can't remember.
You think that's
and I was like, damn, is it really like that? I mean,
where you have to jump a bridge.
Yeah, they had to walk across like this one of those Indiana, Raiders of the Lost Ark type bridges where
the train and everything like that. that's like with the Stand By Me and everything, where you get to the point where you're like, oh shit, I don't know what to do, and then walk across.
Yeah, they had to jump the
tracks.
bridge.
And,
Do you remember that scene?
Yeah, of course. And
Okay.
I don't think that would happen. I mean, I don't think it would happen. I don't know for sure, but I mean, for going across the country, this is pretty short. This is a pretty short list of directions right here. That would be a pretty cool road trip, though, because you're going through Nevada, Utah, Wyoming, Nebraska. It'd be like in Dumb and Dumber when they went from Rhode Island to Aspen. Only longer.
But that's just, you know, the thing about that was that it was I mean, it looks good on paper, but then you got to consider, you know, places got snowed, and they don't show the detours on there because there's always construction, and then you got to stop and rest and eat and piss and all this other stuff. So that 41 hours turns into
a lot longer. You got to
a
stop.
lot longer.
Yeah, you got to stop to sleep, and you got to stop to eat. And, you know.
It's like 4 days or something.
Especially if you're talking about bringing a kid along with you. You know, like if I brought Dexter along, that'd be crazy.
But you wouldn't do it.
No, I wouldn't.
Wouldn't do it. Like, not at his age. Not at his age. You wouldn't even consider.
No, not at all. You know, it's I can't do that. I can't drive him down to San Francisco, and that's like 3 or 4 hours. You know, because when he has to use the John, it's like instant. It's like I gotta go, and I can't do that. You know, you can't pull off onto the side of the interstate.
Oh, I can tell you what my daughter does, man. She for a while she's gotten better, but for a while she would wait just as good until we got in the car, and then and it'd be like, I gotta go to the bathroom, and I mean she'd wait to the point where she couldn't hold it, like she'd wait till she couldn't hold it anymore, and then say, you know, I gotta go to the bathroom. No, or she wouldn't even say that. Like, she would send a signal where you knew something was wrong. Like, you're sitting there at the light, and you're just sitting there patiently waiting, listening to music or whatever. And my son's playing his video game or reading a book or something. And then all of a sudden, she's like, hurry up, cars! I'm like, you got to go to the bathroom, don't you? And she was like, yes! And she's crying and the other. And I'm like, you better hold it, because we just left. And she's like, no! And the next thing you know, you're like, oh, damn.
The worst.
I can break these cups. You can't break those cups. Sorry. If anybody hasn't seen that video, go look for it. It's the funniest thing. I could break these cups.
Oh God! I need to I wish they would put Cops on Netflix.
Cops still comes on here,
but
on regular TV.
I don't have regular TV. I don't have cable. I don't have regular. I don't have anything right now.
How the fuck you don't have regular?
Because I don't have Rabbit.
You can't get a signal. Rabbit is.
Yeah, I don't have the digital tuner or whatever it is.
That little box that they gave away for free.
Yeah, I did. Well, I didn't need one back then, so I didn't get one.
Oh my God! I'm pretty sure I got one laying around here. I had to put you a box. How you don't have a box? You know the thing about those boxes? You get channels that you can't get on cable with those boxes. At least here. Like, this is one channel called Bounce that's here, and they show these old black movies, like Piece of the Action. Remember that one with Bill Cosby and Sidney Poitier and JJ from JJ from Good Times, and they hypnotized him so he wouldn't lose any boxing matches, and then they betted on him, and he really wasn't losing those matches, and then they played what's the one guy, Dolomite. They played New Jersey Drive.
Well, I think.
Remember that one?
I think the thing is, I think the newer TVs have these things built in, if I'm not mistaken. But I can't get it to work.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I go through it. It says, search your channels to see what channels you get, and nothing comes up. So I don't know if I just.
No, I didn't know the new ones had them built in, though. Are you serious?
They might. I don't know. We just bought a new one less than a year ago, and
I don't trust that stuff, Lex. Because I'm like, anytime the government giving you something for free, it's suspect. I mean, that's like what they sending cameras. I mean, this is my theory, real quick. Call me a conspiracy theorist. So I don't care. This is the way I look at it, like this. All right. People talk about you hear the hardcore conspiracy theorists and stuff talking about, okay, there's gonna be one day where people are gonna get chipped or whatever, right?
Right.
But the thing is that if you look at it, they already chipping pets and stuff. They'd be like, oh, if you don't want to lose your pet, you can get this chip inside you, right? This chip inside your pet, so your pet can't run away from home. And they know how people feel about their pets. Yeah. They got damn James Avery Uncle Phil from the Fresh Prince talking to the pet psychic to the dead dog and all this other stuff. So then they got, okay, if something happens to your child, you can get, as soon as your child is born, you can get your child chipped. All right. Then after that, they got, if you want to get that Obamacare, that free healthcare that's coming, if you read inside of there, you got to get the chip. If you take that, but the thing is, everyone has to have insurance. So if you don't get insurance, like say for example, you decide, oh, I'm not gonna get insurance. You know, I stay home. You know what I'm saying? I only drive to work. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I don't go that far because you know everything's 4 or 5 hours away. So what could happen to me? What could really happen to me? So say for example, you know, I mean, seriously, I mean, where you're at, I mean, it would have to be something that would have to happen around the house, or you know what I'm saying? I mean, like when you might have some dudes. The worst that's happened to you probably is some dude keyed your car, right? So you may need car insurance, but you may not need health insurance.
Car insurance doesn't even take care of that. I hate car insurance so much. It's the biggest ripoff ever. But go ahead.
All of it's a ripoff. Yeah. Life insurance is a ripoff. You got to die to use it. Car insurance is a ripoff. You pay them. You could be paying car insurance for 10 years, right, and never have an incident. And then as soon as something happened and you go to them for money, they how about deductible? It's like, oh, you got to give us money before you give you some money back. Bitch, I've been giving you money for 10 years. I could have saved that shit under my mattress and paid for this damn. Could have bought 10 more cars.
That's right. And then they raise your rates as soon as you have an accident. So then now you have to pay even more monthly on top of the deductible that you paid, and you know, all that junk. You know, health insurance is actually the thing that I've been okay with, because when you have a little kid and you know he smacks his head on the table or whatever, it does take care of some of it for you. But
well, that's good, because you can, with that, I mean, if you're paying for that, you can just go bug the doctor all day. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, if you're paying for it, and the thing with that is people use it, they get it, they pay, it comes out their check or whatever, but they like, you know, they don't go. But somebody like me, you know, if I got vision insurance, you know, I'm going to the eye doctors, I'm going to the dentist, I'm going these places, you know, and, but other stuff, the stuff that pissed me off is stuff you can't use until something happens. Like I said, homeowners insurance, something has to happen for you to use that money. Car insurance, something has to happen to your car for you to use that money. Otherwise, you just paying every month. And life insurance is the biggest one. I mean,
yeah, I drove for a couple years without car insurance, which, you know, I didn't want it. I couldn't really afford it, but I didn't want it either. So, but there was this moment where, and I'll never forget this. I was driving to work, and usually it was about a 15-minute drive to work, and I was working really frequently at this point. So this was like 5 or 6 times a week I was driving this, and I'm fumbling with the radio. I'm, you know, changing a CD out or whatever like that, and I'm looking up and I'm looking down. I'm looking up, and I finally look back up, and all of a sudden the car in front of me is stopped in the middle of an intersection, and I have to slam on the brakes and jerk the wheel, and I do this fucking drifting thing, and I spin out, and it's nuts. And I land to go straight forward the same way I was going. I took a deep breath, looked around, and I just kept going forward. Luckily, there was not a police officer there. Luckily, I didn't smash into the back of this person, or I probably would have had a much different life had that happened. But
you said a much different life.
Much different life. I don't know. But,
shit, the other like a week and a half. No, this probably about 2 weeks ago. I thought I went to work without my license, without my wallet. One of my friends was like, "Oh, you got $1 something I can borrow?" And I went to reach, and I was like, "Whoa!" He's like, "You left your wallet?" And I mean, leaving the house, and I don't do that. Like, that's something I just don't do. I always check, but for whatever reason, what I did was I was teaching a class, and I had my wallet in my bag, and I forgot to take it out of my bag, but I still had the bag in the car. So the whole time my wallet's in the car, but I'm thinking I left it at home. And I mean, some people drive without their license like it's nothing. I used to work at a bank, and when we used to ask people for ID in the drive-up part, we'd ask for driver's license, because we just assume, you know, if you're driving up to the window, you should have your license, you should have your ID. So we're like, you have a driver's license? Oh, I didn't bring it. And I'm like, and they just were cool. I mean, just no issue. Oh, okay. For me, not driving without your license is like leaving the house without your pants on.
Yeah.
You just don't do it.
I've done it a couple times, but it's always like as soon as I know I don't have my license, I want to pull over to the side of the road and just stop. Or if I'm driving like with my wife in the passenger and I realize like, oh, I can't drive, you have to drive. I don't have my wallet. I can't do that. Even though I've been pulled over maybe once in my life, I just have a fear that I'm gonna be pulled over because I don't have my wallet.
Shit, it must be nice to be pulled over once. Shit.
That's why I was delivering pizza when I was pulled over. And, with the pizza, you don't have much time. So you take the tag, you take the pizza, you put it in the car, and you go. And then you look at the tab and see where you're going. So I'm looking down at the tab and, doing that whole thing again. And all of a sudden, cop pulls me over. And he goes, he does the whole speed. You know how fast you were going, this and that. I was going
Be like, no, but I know you do.
yeah, I'm
sorry.
I was going the speed limit. He goes, you were doing 35 and a 25. And I said, I don't see any 25 on the street. And he goes, it's 25.
Ooh, you got a lip.
Well, he goes, it's 25 for the whole street. I said, well, I know that there's a 25. There's a sign that says slow down to 25 up ahead when it curves. But to slow down to 25, that would mean I would have to be going faster than 25. And he goes, well, you were also swerving. And I said, well, I'm just trying to look at the pizza ticket. I'm not drunk or anything like that. And so he asked for my license and all that. And it turns out that he was friends with my mom. Like, they went way back to high school or something like that. So he was like, oh, I'm going to let you off this time, this and that. So the only time I was pulled over, I got off the ticket, whatever it was. But I don't think he had a very solid case against me either. So.
But wait a minute, you got away with all that yeah, that's something right there. Cause see here, my father, he will. I'll never forget being in high school, and I think we left Sizzler or something. I think it was a Sunday. We left Sizzler, and it was in the wintertime. And, my mother's up front, father up front. She shotgun, father's, he driving, right. And my sister in the back. We driving home and everything. Woo, woo, woo. Police pull over. So they stop, flash the big light, take their time getting out. And then so he's like, you got a tail light out, this and the other. Not a tail light, headlight out. So my father's like, sitting up there, like, no, I didn't know that. So this guy, I guess he goes to pull out, not a ticket, but a warning or whatever. So then my father's like, excuse me, officer, but did you notice that yours is out too? That police officer didn't say anything, got back in his car and pulled off.
That's awesome. That just reminds me of Hank Hill pulling over a cop to tell him his light is out.
You never seen those YouTube videos where those dudes be pulling over police officers who be speeding? They chase the police officers, like they'll see police officers. You know how you've seen it, police officers who aren't going anywhere, but to like Wendy's or something, but they'll cut their sirens on so they ain't gotta wait at lights. Well, these dudes were chasing so they chased this one police officer. So he kept running. Right, he was going faster trying to get away from him. So finally he gets out and he's like, and they got the camera on the whole time. They're like, the police officer's like, excuse me, what are you doing, sir? What are you doing? And he's like, officer, do you realize how fast you're going? He's like, excuse me, get back in your car. He's like, no, I'm not getting back in my car. Explain to us why you're going. That shit was so funny.
That's
oh my
nuts.
goodness.
I've never seen that before. I used to, when I was delivering pizza, they have the thing you put on the roof of the car, and it's like the sign that lights up and everything like that. Well, the guy that I took the job over from said, basically that's your license to drive however you want, because the police see that. The police see that and they won't pull you over or whatever. So I would drive pretty recklessly, run red lights and this and that, and the speed, everything like that. I thought I could get away with it. Luckily, I didn't get pulled over once. It seemed to be right, So I kind of want to go get one of those things and put it on top of the car. Next time I go to Wendy's, I can go that fast or whatever. Because that's worth going fast for, going to Wendy's.
Oh my goodness,
I know you
man.
don't. I know you don't. I know you don't mess with that stuff.
I sent you that video. You can watch that later. That's them
Yeah, I
and
got
the,
it.
and the police officer like, you need to get out of my way. So watch that tomorrow too, or later.
All right, we'll do. All right, so let's hop into some wrestling talk here, and not much to talk about, but Ring of Honor earlier tonight posted their Border Wars logo, and it's Border Wars, blah blah blah, the Canadian flag, but in the back it's got this kind of opaque Pro Wrestling Noah logo, just kind of sitting back there, whatever. So now it seems like, and I believe this is something we talked about on one of our first episodes, Pro Wrestling Noah and ROH doing some sort of either talent exchange or like a supercard type show. I would have thought this would happen at Supercard of Honor, that kind of makes more sense. But it's going to happen in Canada, at Border Wars, and some of the roster recently of Pro Wrestling Noah has left. Go Shiozaki, who was had quite a few matches in Ring of Honor, he's gone. Yun Akiyama, he's gone. So they've got a couple of people, and this is all stemming from Kenta Kobashi retiring, basically. Once he left, they said these 5 people said, we don't want to work here anymore, so they went to All Japan. But there's still a few guys in Pro Wrestling Noah that we know. One of those guys, or 2 of those guys, being Takeshi Morishima, former Ring of Honor champion, and Kenta. So
The champ.
I know you're a Kenta fan. What kind of matches would you like to see on this card, being ROH versus Pro Wrestling Noah?
I would hope that I don't want to see. Well, see, the thing is now the Wolves are in a tag team.
Yeah.
So, because I would like to see Eddie Edwards and David Richards have some singles matches with. I mean, I guess they could still do a tag team match.
Yeah, they're doing singles matches though. Davey's fighting Kyle, and Eddie's fighting Bobby Fish on one of their house shows that they're doing here soon. So it's not like they couldn't wrestle singles matches,
Well, I would like to see Davey Richards and Kenta. I know Davey and Kenta don't get along now, but I'd like to see them. I think that 2 people don't necessarily have to get along to have good matches.
Well,
I know Davey. I know. I don't know if that was just something that. See, when I see Davey and Roddy together at TV, they like joke with each other in the ring and stuff, and like, not if you just watch the 2, you would just see certain things. Seem like they get along, but according to Davey in the interview, he was like they can't. They don't like each other. So I don't know if that was just a time when he was, just kind of disappointed. But he also had mentioned in an interview how something happened with him and Kenta. I don't know what it was. But yeah, I would like to see those 2 go at it.
Huh.
Definitely like to see those 2. Either Kenta and Roddy, or Kenta and Davey, or Kenta. That particular group. I would like to see them have, because they seem to blend so well with those guys from Noah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, well, a lot of them have the same sort of style. I don't think anybody has, like, a lot of the times you see, Davey has strong style, this and that, and really the Japanese style to me is a guy not pandering to the crowd. That's kind of what it means to me, and Davey panders to the crowd a lot, especially now. And so I don't see these styles necessarily the same thing, but they are styles that could work together. And it's kind of like bringing the best of one world and bringing the best of another, and then bam, you have a great match. Hopefully, that is. My dream match, I guess, out of all this would be Morishima versus Elgin.
That would be nice. That would be so nice.
Just 2 tanks going at it. And I know Elgin, his dream is to wrestle in Japan. So hopefully he can get something out of this and head on over there for a little bit too.
I hope they would do something like that instead of like Morishima versus Rhino. I'd rather it be Morishima versus Elgin. I'd rather this be, because see, a lot of people don't like Japanese wrestling because I think because it seems so serious, but that's what I like about it, because they view wrestling like you and I look at wrestling like a sport. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it has entertainment elements, of course, but this is a competition. This is about what you're going to do in the ring. It all revolves around that. That's what it all matters most.
Right.
You know, and those guys, they sit there, they don't do certain things that, I mean, they have their moments. Like at the beginning, it sounds like in their culture, you know, it's like they do have an entertainment aspect, but it doesn't really interfere from what I can tell in the matches. It has its moments before the matches and after the matches. Like Kenta comes out and he with a Sharpie and he's signing T-shirts and you know, and then they have guys that come out dressed like Power Rangers and dressed like anime characters and stuff, and they have streamers and little, you know, Powerpuff Girl type anime music and stuff. But that's where it stops. They get in the ring and they all perform, and you know, the people there aren't, you know, spewing obscenities and all this other stuff. They are paying attention the whole time to what's going on in the ring. You know, I mean, the fans are just as focused as the competitors in the ring. And if someone messes up or something, you know, I mean, we wouldn't be able to understand it, but they aren't chanting, "You fucked up." They aren't chanting what? They aren't chanting, "Yes, yes, yes," and this, that, and the other, but they just going at it. And it's like, I mean, if you want to look at something and, you know, just look at it for something that's not, I mean, for something that appears to be straight up 100% real in the sense of not scripted, I mean, they got the stuff. I prefer that over Mexico. I never was a big fan of Mexican wrestling.
You know, Mexico's okay in small doses. The thing that throws me off about Mexico is they have some very strange rules that I forget all the time. So to watch a match, it's not that it's pure chaos. It's just they have different rules that we don't really remember, we don't really know of, etc., etc. Because I remember when the AAA released a game called Heroes Del Ring or something like that. But it basically used the TNA Impact game engine, and they just put their fresh coat of paint on it, and they were using the Lucha rules, and it's crazy. It's like if one guy gets thrown out of the ring, that automatically tags in this guy, and you know, it's elimination rules and this and that. So it's not like it can't be fun to watch or anything. It's just I think a lot of people have trouble understanding not only the match of the rules of the match, but also the characters that come across. You know, I'm surprised a guy like La Parka got over as well as he did here in the United States. You know, so I don't mind it. One thing I really like about Japanese wrestling is the crowd. I love the crowd, and people say, you know, they sit on their hands, etc., etc. But I kind of see it as more of you have to work harder to earn their pop. And I like the golf clap. I love the respectful clap. This and that. You don't have to be you don't have to be a face to get a response. You know, you don't have to be a face to get their respect and everything like that. And a lot of the newer stuff that I'm watching of Japanese wrestling, a lot of it is goofy. You know, a lot of it's more theatrical now. But you get to those companies like All Japan, they've still got that base, you know, of the serious wrestling. So I really look forward to the ROH guys kind of, you know, stepping out of a certain comfort zone to kind of put on the best match they can with these guys here. Not that they don't try to put on the best match the guys they have now, but it's obviously going to be much different. But, you know, Kevin Steen is going to be a guy that's probably going to wrestle, so I do wonder if they're going to do Steen versus Morishima, even though Morishima's not the GHC champion anymore. It's Kenta, so.
Well, see, the only thing with that, well, we already know, unless Steen loses, because, I mean, he could always lose. Right now they got him booked against Adam Cole for Border Wars, but he could possibly... I mean, he could possibly, you know, lose. If he loses the title, then he'd be open. I mean, you never know what's going to happen in ROH, and I feel like, you know, what you said about it. Paul Jordan had actually, I wanted to go back and watch it, but I just didn't have the time to watch it. He had posted a New Japan show, one of the things I like about just wrestling in Japan in general is that it's a guy over here who may be booked as, a jobber, but like you said, over there, the expectation is high. They look for hard work. And you talk to some people and they're like, where's such and such been at? And you're like, oh, they're over in Japan. And if you haven't seen them work, you just think, okay, that guy was a jobber in WWE or TNA or whatever. But you get over there and that guy's a star. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and they will respect you as a star. I mean, look at Tensai, for example. I mean, when he was John Bernard over there, he was a big deal.
Yeah, he was one of the most successful tag teams in Japanese history. So it's completely different over there. A guy that's a mid-carder here could be a main eventer there, and a guy who's a main eventer here might not necessarily be a main eventer there. And it's just all dependent upon what you have to bring to the Japanese culture. And I was listening to some interview, and I was listening to Rene Dupree's interview, and I actually posted it on the Ringside Report page. Go watch it; it's very good. But he was talking about how when you're brought over to Japan, they don't want to see you do the same style that they do. They want you to be who you were in America. They want you to have that American style. How valuable are you to them if you come over and try to do a style you've never done before? You try to be a strong style wrestler, and you're just being another one of them. And that's true. That's smart. Not to say that I don't like the American wrestlers that do the strong style. Obviously, I do, but you got to take that into account too. So.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'll say this, like for example, Hogan, for example, and Hogan was one of his people he trained with. If not, I don't know if he was the only person. Was what's the guy's name? Antonio Inoki.
Yeah, he had a match with him too.
Yeah, and when they had him, I mean, you see, and we talked about this before. You see Hogan doing enziguris and arm drags and arm bars and everything, stuff that you would never see him do in the 80s, but he did it, when he was over in Japan, because I mean that's something that he just wasn't going to go in there and squash those guys like he did here.
Yeah. So I mean that's all we can really say about it right now. We will, as more news breaks about it, because this was just, we got 20 minutes of wrestling talk out of them posting a picture, but as more stuff comes out, we'll address that. I just saw something very interesting from one of the news wires that Ring of Honor posted recently. It says, Roderick Strong has told Nigel McGuinness that he wants the best competition that he can find for him at Supercard of Honor 7. We will see who Nigel comes up with for Strong, but the wrestler that is rumored is pretty interesting. And the rumor that I see is Jushin Liger versus Roddy Strong.
I could see. Yeah.
I guess they had a match last year at Wrestle Reunion in Canada, and supposedly it was really good. And I guess Liger is in NYC that weekend, so I don't know.
I'll tell you who I saw had an amazing match with Roddy, and it's on the ROH Japan DVD. It was Roddy and Kensuke Sasaki. Oh my god, that match was awesome.
Yeah.
And I remember Kensuke Sasaki from when he was in WCW. Because see, that's back then WCW had. I mean, that's what a lot of. That's the thing. Even before the whole thing with the Monday Night Wars and having the Mexican and Japanese wrestlers, Ultimo Dragon, and Masahiro Chono and all them come over and everything, and the Mexican wrestlers and all that. WCW had been doing that earlier on, and there were some times when, just like in ROH, where there were some Japanese wrestlers who won titles.
Right. They had a deal with New Japan.
Yeah. And that was cool because, you didn't assume that, okay, this person isn't going to win when, I wonder how many people were shocked. I watched that match. I wonder how many people were shocked when Morishima had beat Homicide.
I'd be probably a little less shocked than they would have been in WCW or whatever.
It's true. And plus, at that time, Homicide, I don't think really had the belt for that long. But see, I don't know the background of that at that time. I don't know if he was. I mean, back then too, you didn't know when a person was coming or going. In today's time, you know, with internet and everything, you know when someone's signed with another company, so you can kind of say, okay, this person is probably going to drop the title or whatever because they got to leave. Like when Tyler went against Roddy.
I remember in I believe it was the Rise and Fall of WCW. It is one of the WCW DVDs. Jim Ross was talking about when the New Japan talent would come over and when they won belts and all this, and he was saying, you know, they're great talent, great wrestlers, but nobody knew them. Nobody, they weren't educated at all on these guys. They didn't know what to think. You know, they saw them a couple times, and all of a sudden they're winning belts, and, you know, you can respect the matches, but you can't get into it as much because, you know, you don't have that connection with them. And as far as the Ring of Honor fans, I'd like to think that we're a bit more educated than fans were in 1992 in general, let alone WCW fans. And so...
Well, we can go and look stuff. I mean, like, for example, if you tell me, all you got to do is send me a message and say, hey, Lee, you got to check out...
Right. Yeah.
Pro Wrestling Japan, and I can get on YouTube, I can get on Wikipedia, I can get on Google, I can search this stuff and find actual footage and stuff. Back in the 90s, it was like you had to find a tape, or you had to.
It's not like we're tape traders here, you know. I get that, but Lee, you should know this just as well as I know it.
We learned who those wrestlers were. I'll say this, and you could ask somebody like Double A, Todd, maybe somebody like that. I'm Paul Jordan. We learned.
Lee? You there?
Hello?
Okay, there we go. So
Yeah, it was Skype.
Yeah,
But
it happened.
I was just wrapping up. I was just saying, I mean, they were no different than any other new person that was introduced on TV. They didn't come in and just win a belt. It wasn't like Muta came in and, you know, the next night he beat, he had one match with Sting and he came in and he won. It was, you saw this guy week after week after week, and then eventually he earned that shot and he won. And,
Right.
It had been no different if they had repackaged someone and had them win. And by that time, I mean, you know, I mean, I think if anything, when the NWO guys start coming in, some of the like Japanese people, but that was a cool period too because they were really like if they were NWO here, they were NWO over there too.
Well, the thing is, the tolerance level of wrestling fans, even though it's not there yet where it should be, it's a lot better than it was back then. And it sucks to say this, but I'm sure a lot of WCW fans looked at their race and they're like, oh, this guy's Japanese, and, you know, I don't care about him. Not to say that I don't like him, but I don't care about him because he's not American. You know what I mean? And
I agree. Yep, I'm pretty sure that was it.
That's not necessarily 100% their fault. They had been conditioned to do this because you had guys like Sting who had the red, white, and blue face paint. You had guys like Hogan waving the flag, and they're conditioned to say, okay, the guy who's American is better than the guy who's not. So these days, what I wanted to get back with, you and I both should know. I know very well, but you should know this as well. That just because the tools are there at our fingertips doesn't mean the people have the motivation to go and look these people up. Because, I mean, look at how many people were saying, oh, but I don't want to go to ringofhonorwrestling.com and check this out. It's literally typing in a few words and you're there and you get to see this wrestling. It's the motivation to do that is not there. And I think that...
No, it's still people. I still see people to this day, still Lex.
Yeah.
Who will go on the Ring of Honor Facebook page, and I know you probably see it too.
Yeah.
And be like, sure, I sure would like to be able to watch Ring of Honor.
Yeah,
it doesn't come on in my area.
It's stupid. What the hell are you using to tell Ring of Honor this? You're using the internet. Go watch it. You know, and that's something that they'll never get over, and that's what it is. And it doesn't help that WWE produces 8 hours of television per week or whatever it is, to the point where nobody else wants to go look at any other wrestling. Because WWE is first, and I'm going to check out all what WWE has to offer first because I trust them. And then, you know, by the time that's over, I'm burnt out on wrestling. So it's just the way things are, you know. And that's fine with me, you know. If you listen to our show If you don't, I know there's people that listen to the show that don't watch a minute of Ring of Honor wrestling. But it's cool that they do want to hear at least what's going on. You know, they want to stay informed. They want to keep up in that sense. But, you know,
if a person is really diehard into it, back when I was coming up, we had a lot of hours of wrestling. I had more than 8 hours of wrestling, and it was different promotions and stuff. But I mean, if anything, WCW produced more hours of wrestling than anything. WCW gave you 5 hours of wrestling alone, and you know, WWE probably gave you 3. And then we still had AWA, and we had USWA, and we had Global Wrestling Federation came on every day.
Yeah.
I had wrestling 7 days a week, literally 7 days. I know Double A said he didn't have it on Tuesdays. I had wrestling every single day. Wrestling came on television every day for years.
Right.
So it was just something we watched every day. It was no different than coming home and watching a cartoon, a favorite show, every single day. And it's just a matter of, you know, just it's there. I mean, we have more available to us. We couldn't watch it. I didn't watch it every day though. I mean, things had to be done.
It was all different too, because you had different motives for each company. You had the guys that were you had the WWF, and then there was the guys that didn't want to be like, they wanted to be very opposite of what WWF was, and then you had the guys that were trying to become the next WWF, like the Global Wrestling Federation and UWF, and you know, I was not a part of those times, but I've read so much that I feel like, maybe not that like I was there, but I feel like I could hold my own in a discussion about it, you know. And that was my choice to do that. That was several hours put into research or whatever. I didn't have to do that. I could still do this show without knowing all that shit, but I want to know that kind of stuff because I want to know not only where these guys came from, but also the history of what people have tried in the past, what has failed, what has succeeded. And it's to me that's cool. Like, history in his school, I never was a big fan of it, but you know, when you get something that I actually like wrestling, I want to know all about it. So,
but if some people would just take a quarter of the interest that you said you took in researching, it's not hard. Like, some of the stuff you don't even have to see. Like, for example, like just knowing, I mean, like, for example, knowing that how many Ring of Honor champions there's, not saying you have to know the amount or all of them, but just knowing certain things, or, I mean, like, for obviously you or I, but I'll put it this way, like, Ring of Honor is a company that I enjoy, and I obviously, you know, I'm here, I watch it, and I love the promotion. But when I got into it, I wanted to go back and find out stuff about it. I didn't just say, oh, well, I wasn't around then, so screw it.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. I still don't know everything there is to know about Ring of Honor. I'd love to, but that would be a lot of time that eventually I'll get to it.
Maybe for some people that, because certain things are available, people take it for granted. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a joy in searching something out and finding it versus just having something available to you and not taking advantage of it when it's there.
I think it's also different, though. How you discover it is a big part of it for me, because I'll read a book, like I'm reading McFoley's book, and then he starts talking about, I was wrestling with the UWF and, you know, this and that, and then you want to go look that stuff up. Oh, I was wrestling Eddie Gilbert and this, you know, basically what was eventually the 3 Stages of Hell match in 1991, so you go look that up, and then, you know, it's just, to me, that's how I like to learn stuff. I can't go to a Wikipedia page and start reading and, you know, get everything that way. I can't do that. It has to be more interactive, I guess, for me.
Well, people also got to do their due diligence. I mean, and I'm not knocking WWE for this at all, because they have made other promotions available through DVDs and stuff. But you also got to remember, whoever's and this goes for not just wrestling history, but all forms of history. Whoever is, you know, the winner of any type of battle war, or the one who comes out on top, is the one who controls the history and what is viewed and how it's perceived. unless you go in. I mean, if you were to look back and for someone who's coming along who just may be a wrestling fan today and they may hear about they may see somebody come on TV, DDP. Say that when he comes out, if they're promoting like the new Nitro DVD, and they're like, oh, what's WCW? I never heard of that before. And then they Google it and they're like, oh, this promotion was out then. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And they may think, okay, the only wrestling that was out then was WCW and WWF. And some people may believe that back in the day, those were the only two promotions that were out, which we know that there were many, many more and not just those two.
Yeah.
And then some people have no knowledge of Japanese wrestling or Mexican wrestling or just women's wrestling. I was talking on a call-in show with William, I want to say it was last week. And I was saying, especially asking him because he is more into it than I am. But just the evolution of women's wrestling and how back when I was, coming up, I only remember Glow and POW, but I'm pretty sure there were other women's promotions out there. But those are only two that come to mind for me. But now there are different women's promotion. You have women in the indies. You got women in ROH is starting with the women's, having regular women's matches, it seems.
Yeah.
WWE. So women's wrestling is really out there now. I mean, I don't remember having a serious promotion like a Shimmer or was it Shimmer, Shine, Blow, or I can't remember what the other one was. I gotta look it up, but these are serious stuff going on with the women's wrestling.
Zeus's name was brought up in the chat, and listen, Zeus is only going to learn as much as he wants to learn, and I don't care if Zeus learns everything. Don't care at all, but he's only going to learn as much as he wants to. So if he doesn't want to go and do the research, if he doesn't want to, that's on him. Other people don't need to worry about that. What needs to happen is, if he comes around and tries to get into a discussion, that's a whole different story. He deserves all the flaming in the world. But
if he comes around and says something like, if it comes to the point where, and this is what I have a problem with, and this isn't something that's limited to someone like Zeus. This is for anybody, me, you, anybody else. It's like the blatant disrespect of just older wrestling. I mean, am I going to sit down and watch wrestling from the 40s, and with like I watch other wrestling? No, I'm not. That's not something I'm interested in seeing. But just, but just realizing that, this was a part of the history. This is what led to certain things. And, I wouldn't expect someone like Zeus to really get into an AWA DVD or something like that, like UI would or something like that, because that's a huge, I'm more than twice his age. So,
yeah, I
mean, what I'm saying?
I don't see you on here, calling out Frank Gotch or anything like that, saying he was
the
most overrated.
I wouldn't do that.
Time, so.
But the problem I have is when it's like, when someone's like, oh, no one cares about that old, who cares about him? No one cares about him. Why they waste my time showing him on TV? And I'm like, okay, waste time. This is someone who actually contributed to what you see is responsible or had an effort in what you're seeing today, but you'd rather see Muppets or something like that, or you'd rather see someone get married in the middle of the ring or something like that. If that's your cup of tea, that's fine. But, this person being honored for 5-10 minutes is viewed as a waste of time. But you have no problem with, some, the Muppets or Pee-wee Herman or somebody like that talking for 25 minutes in the ring. And that's concerning to me, when it comes to the sport of professional wrestling, regardless of what it's evolved into, today's time. Now, like me and Rage, we get into it a lot because, I think for some people, it's not really the fact that some people trolling, and at the same time, some people they in their fanboy stages. Coming up when I was young, Hogan, well, especially like Ultimate Warrior. Ultimate Warrior he was like a superhero. There was this guy, you're young, and this guy comes to the ring, and he's got all these big muscles, and he's got this face paint. He looks like, this unstoppable person who just can't be beat. And as you get older and you look back at certain promos and stuff, and you're like, yeah, that was kind of ridiculous when you get older. And but there are some grown men who really believe certain things like that. You know what I'm saying? They really don't see they see it like this good guy, this bad guy thing. I mean, they don't see it like for what it really is. They see it in a different way, and it's I was giving Rage shit for Rob Terry. He's like, Rob Terry is you know, he's a great wrestler. He should be world champion. He should be TNA world champion. And he can't understand why I would like this. I'm like, okay, I would like to see somebody like Christopher Daniels. He's like, no, Rob Terry. And I mean, he has that right, but back when I was like 5 or something, I'd see somebody that big and be like, wow, that guy's huge. You know what I'm saying? Why don't he have a belt? But when you get older, you start asking yourself the question like, okay, this guy can't really do too much.
Well, with Rob Terry, he's so good that they sent his ass down to OVW. Yeah, that's how good he is. Rage, he likes to ruffle feathers. That's just what he does.
Zeus gets a pass, but since Rage came along, I don't. You notice I don't bother Oliver anymore. Oliver's cool now.
If he thinks Rob Terry should be champion, that's his deal. It's fine. It's whatever. I can't hate on anyone for, because people gave me shit for wanting people to be certain champions and this and that.
He don't mean that. All I'm saying is that back something up with something legitimate. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't say Rob Terry's a great wrestler. He's not. He's what do they call, he's an attraction. You know what I'm saying? He's a big dude. He's someone who back in the day would have got a shot just based off his size. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, maybe that's the case with him now. I mean, how many guys that are okay? You may have somebody like Davey Richards who's smaller. I remember back in the day when people were talking about Chris Benoit wouldn't be champion because he was too small.
Right.
Eddie Guerrero, those guys wouldn't be champions because they were too small. And you still got that. Still, some people still hold that belief. We heard the stuff Kevin Nash said late last year about these smaller guys being champion and stuff. And I mean, to some extent, it is kind of unbelievable. I mean, why would they even book something like Rey Mysterio against Big Show or Rey Mysterio against Big Show and Khali at the same time? Or Daniel Bryan versus Big Show and Mark Henry? You know what I'm saying? Certain things is like, I look at CM Punk and CM Punk is like, he's like someone you would see if you walk down the street. He's not that big. Right. And, when I watch him fight somebody like Ryback in a real fight, you'd be like, damn, Ryback will beat his ass. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just...
Yeah, you can't do that too much in pro wrestling. You can't say... Like...
Awesome Kong versus like Kelly. Come on, let's be real.
Well, like they've done Daisy Hayes versus Awesome Kong before, and there could not be a bigger weight differential. Unless it was like Big Bertha coming back or whatever.
Who's that one guy from Ohio that you mentioned? From the Ohio wrestling, was it Ohio wrestling that you said you get?
Yeah. Well, like.
And the real small dude, it wasn't Peter Avalon, was it?
Oh,
who was it?
No, it was. His name was Marion Fontaine, and he's like almost like a Joey Ryan, but way skinnier, and way more. He almost looks like kind of like a pedophile, almost. But
is he smaller than Peter Avalon?
They're close. They're very close. I don't
know.
Now,
if one of those two were in the ring with someone like Big Show's more mobile than Khali. Khali reminds me of one of those dudes from off of what's that called? What was that Jaylico game they had? That that was a Jaylico video game where it was these two guys run around the streets of rage or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. I got the game downstairs on Super Nintendo. I'll remember what it is. But anyway, yeah, I mean, how's that, like, Rey Mysterio, as small as he is, how's that believable for him to, I don't know. Like, he shouldn't have held that belt as long as he did, is all I'm saying. He was a sympathy champion.
I try not to think about it too much, because if you start... Like, I'm serious, though. If you start to put too much real stock in professional wrestling, you'll go nuts. if you try to throw too, I love my wrestling with logic, but if you try to throw too much logic, you'll hate it. Especially if you're watching WWE, because logic just it resets. They hit the reset button, and most of the fans just forget it and move along. You know, I think I speak for you when I say, you know, for me that doesn't cut it. You know, I can't just hit the reset button.
Well, we live in an age where this is not just people have an expectation when you're. I'm nerdish when it comes to stuff like that. I look for continuity and stuff. And when continuity, but you got to be careful. I remember you said something on the rant of like this a couple of years ago, when they had to be careful referencing like past feuds and stuff like that, because you know, you start doing stuff like that, you know, it opens up a whole bigger can of worms. Like someone says, I remember back in 2005 when, you know, you cost me the title and this, that, and the other. Because then at the same time, I mean, but this is something that they've always done in wrestling. Like you have someone, say for example, you and I are rivals, and I, you know, I'm a heel and you're a face, and I've done everything I could. I set your car on fire, and I, you know, I helped your family captive in the back while you were out having a match, and you know, and then you came this, that, and the other, and then all of a sudden, you know, one of your friends pissed you off, and you turned on them, and you turned heel. Then the next week we're best friends. We're you know, we combine forces now. I mean, that's something that just kind of.
See, I don't mind using previous stuff and storylines and whatever, but if you're gonna do that, just make sure you do it on a lot of different fronts. You know, because I remember WWE, CM Punk and Randy Orton for their WrestleMania match at 27, I believe it was. They used our whole Unforgiven 2008 scuffle in the story.
That's the one.
And it was like, everybody was like, yeah, that was awesome. I love when they use that stuff. My problem with it was that WWE ignores so much stuff and tells you to forget so much stuff, and then all of a sudden they're saying, oh, hey, remember this? And now we're supposed to act like stuff exists from the past, you know? And
You mean like Triple H and Undertaker at WrestleMania 17 wasn't supposed to act like that never happened?
Exactly. You know, I can't do both, so it's one or the other, and you know, that's one of the many reasons why I can't stand watching it for extended periods of time anymore. But we could go on all night about that. So. Oh,
real quick, the name of the game was Rival Turf.
Rival Turf. Let's look at that.
I don't know if you remember that,
I don't remember that, but I put it on Google Maps on us. Oh, with this cover, with the Mexican dude and the white dude. The white dude has like a jacket with the collar flipped up, and he's got a backwards hat on, and the Mexican dude has...
I didn't know it was a trilogy of this. I remember Brawl Brothers was the second one, I believe, but I didn't know it was a third one. But I have Rival Turf now. I played Brawl Brothers. I remember renting that from the video store. But I don't remember the third one. It was called Peacekeepers or something.
There's a couple of those kinds of games, like River City
Beat 'em up games.
Yeah, River City Ransom, Double Dragon.
I love that game. I still have that.
I think there's 3 Double Dragons.
Yeah, what?
There was Final Fight, Streets of Rage.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's quite a few. But
I love River City Ransom, though. What was the one with, was that Streets of Rage? What was the one, where you would hold the button and the guy would light up and he would do like this super hard punch? What was that? Was that Streets of Rage? I can't remember what that was called.
I don't remember offhand. It's been so long since I played any of those. When I had my Wii, they had something called the Virtual Console. You could buy old games off their online store. And I bought River City Ransom, so that was the most recent one I played. But that game,
I downloaded that song on my iPod, that boss theme. It's funny because you walk, it's like, then you walk the next screen like, some of those 32-bit video games, their music,
yeah, awesome.
Ninja Gaiden and all them, they had the best music.
Yeah, awesome. And considering what they had to work with, you know, that's amazing. But probably my my favorite side-scrolling beat 'em ups was
Kung Fu.
was it? It was the Avengers, old arcade game, where you got to pick from like Captain America and
Hawkeye was one, I think.
yeah, Hawkeye, Iron Man,
Hmm.
and X-Men also had one that was very similar to it. Those two were awesome. And then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4.
Of course.
Number 4, Turtles in Time. That was excellent. And
I got that here.
You see, you're a lucky bastard for having that there. And then there was Power Rangers for Super Nintendo, which was a phenomenal game.
Never played it.
Oh, it's so awesome.
I was kind of scared to play licensed games and stuff like that because I had bad back when the regular NES was out, and they had like Nightmare on Elm Street. I was a big horror fan back in the day, and when they had Nightmare on Elm Street and the LJN would do that and Friday the 13th, and I didn't like those games.
Because they suck ass. Yeah, actually, you know what? I don't mind Nightmare on Elm Street too much. But Y2 Jant in the chat posted a picture of the Avengers arcade game. It's awesome. And they used to, like, before you put your quarter in, they had the bio for everyone.
Yeah.
Hawkeye.
Back when arcades were, it's hard to find an arcade now.
Oh yeah.
I think ESPN Zone, when they had it here, had one, and now I think Dave and Buster's is the only one that have, and most of them is like racing games, but. Bad Dudes was the name of the game. That was Bad Dudes.
You guys
remember that?
Yeah, I do. I do remember that. You guys on the East Coast, you have like dedicated like fun centers. You know what I mean? We have them here too, but you guys probably have big. I think it's New Hampshire. I can't remember if it's New Hampshire or something like that. It has like the biggest arcade with the best games or something like that. Now I'm curious. It was featured in, I don't know if you ever saw King of Kong, Fistful of Quarters, that documentary about Donkey Kong.
No, I haven't.
Oh, fuck, you need to go watch that. If you like documentaries, man, that's awesome. But it's, like, I think it's just called the Fun Zone.
Did y'all have, like, laser tag and all that?
Yeah. Laser
See,
tag.
I wasn't a laser tag guy. I was a photon guy. Photon was like the generic version, but I loved Photon.
That's what it is. Fun Spot in Laconia, New Hampshire.
Let me look it up. I pulled up in YouTube. Let's see if they show a video. Fun Spot, New Hampshire, December 10 walkthrough. They got a walkthrough. Let's see.
Like, if I were ever to go back to the East Coast, I want to go here. It's amazing.
Did you see the video for it?
No, I didn't see the video. I'm on their website right now, just looking at all the shit that they have.
They're doing an actual walkthrough of the facility. I haven't seen these. I've been watching Silver Spoons growing up, and I was so jealous that Ricky Schroeder had a arcade in his place because the graphics were so much, better. But those things are expensive. Like, I would go in and play Street Fighter for days. I was a huge Street Fighter fan. Huge.
Yeah.
I'm not down with all that. I haven't played like all the alphas and all that, but like just the regular Street Fighter and Championship and Turbo and all that. But I watched the actual cartoons and all that. But that horrible movie when Mortal Kombat first came out, and what was the one game, Killer Instinct?
Yeah,
with
Killer
your
Instinct.
bunch of combos.
Yeah, Killer Instinct, Primal Rage, where you're fighting as dinosaurs and shit. I remember they used to have that in Chuck E. Cheese, and it's funny because that game would be you as a dinosaur like ripping the throat.
They had that in Chuck E. Cheese?
Yeah. That was
Are you
awesome.
serious? That one?
Yep.
That was not a game to have in there.
Yeah, I know. That's what made it awesome, though. We had another pizza place. It's a pizza chain over here called Round Table Pizza, and they had a very, very, very small room with like 4 games in it. But the games in there they're always like Street Fighter or The Simpsons arcade game, stuff like that. So I played a lot
This
there.
place is huge.
But Y2Jan.
The Simpsons arcade game. Wow, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, it's awesome. Marge with the vacuum cleaner and everything.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you took it back. You took it back because Bart was on the skateboard. Marge had a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
I think, did Homer just walk? I don't think he had anything.
He
I
just
don't know.
used his fists, I think.
Yeah, he was just punching stuff. They got the old pinballs. Look at this. Oh my gosh, Lex.
And then
They got all the old pinball machines.
And then Lisa used her saxophone. But
That's right. She used the saxophone. Yeah. Did you see Wreck-It Ralph?
no, not yet. I think we're gonna watch that this weekend though. Go get.
I took my children to the movies to watch it. Your son will love it.
Is it good?
Yeah, it was just nice. You will like it too. My wife, she's watching it. She was like, "Wow, I actually like this movie," because we were like,
Yeah, I hate
like we were all into it. It was the coolest thing.
I usually hate those Disney animated movies, but
They did a good job, and it's one of those things where Dexter, it'll be some characters in there that he'll obviously recognize, like he'll see Sonic or something like that, but there'll be characters in there that you'll know and he won't, and you'll be like, wow, like
that's awesome. Yeah, I remember seeing the trailer and I was like, oh shit, a Disney film I actually want to see. We actually never got to the theater, but go get it from Redbox, $1 a night, he said.
yeah, $1.27, or did it go up? I'm just joking.
Well, the tax here is it's like $1.10 or something like that.
When you get a chance, look at this video. This is cool.
I'm
They
watching
actually.
it right now, actually, and I got it. Since I'm watching it, people in the chat can see it as well. So.
Oh, that's cool. See, that's the good thing about having that's nice. Why would I want to? Before we get off the call, we got to talk about. I want to give my 2 cents about Bully Ray.
Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and finish off with Bully Ray winning the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Bully Ray's first World Championship in any promotion that I remember, at least. A lot of people don't like it. Some do. What side of the fence are you on?
I'm fine with it. My ideal person who I always wanted to see get a championship, whether it be ROH or TNA, one of those two especially, it's no secret, it's Christopher Daniels. I feel like he's a hard worker. He's anything he's given, he makes work, whether it be Carry Man or Fallen Angel or, his new fanboy gimmick or whatever it is that he's doing now. Coming out doing a dance with the apple martinis, whatever. He makes it work. And so for somebody like Bully Ray, who, I thought he was going to get this push back in when they split them, when they hit the brand split back in WWE. I don't know, what was that, 2002, I guess?
Yeah.
Probably about 11 years ago. He was, I think he went to Raw and Devon stayed on SmackDown. I think he was set up for a push, and I don't know what happened. I can't remember. But, he had, his gimmick in itself, this whole Bully Ray gimmick, I wasn't really too much of a fan of it initially, the way they did it. I was okay with him being a bully, but just the way it just seemed kind of cheesy with him weighing 5150. I just remember LAX having that, and, he just seemed kind of goofy. But, he was with Immortal, but through time, he was, I was like, this dude really is using what's been given to him, and, he's not old. Compared to, they've been older champions. He's not older. I'm not a huge Jeff Hardy fan at this moment. I've never been a huge Jeff Hardy fan, but you've always know how I felt about Jeff Hardy, and as far as people earning a particular spot. And I felt like Jeff Hardy was given a lot of stuff, just given to him just because he was Jeff Hardy. And I feel like that's something that TNA, look, in 2005, TNA was the alternative, and I felt like, wow, I can finally watch another promotion. Not that I had anything against WWE at the time, but I was just looking for more pure wrestling. And when I turned on Spike TV, I would see more wrestling than storyline. And, AJ Styles was like, I was like, wow, this guy is phenomenal. Yeah. And I just kind of felt like when a lot of WWE guys would come in, they were given, even regardless of the fact of me liking them or not, they were just given so much so soon. Christian came in, and I think like his first main match was a title shot, and he won. You know, Kurt Angle came in, and he immediately had a feud with Samoa Joe, and Samoa Joe was hot at the time. A lot of people had to take a back seat when these guys came in, and it always left a bad taste in my mouth because I remember Hogan doing that when he came to WCW, and I just never liked when people did that. And when Jeff Hardy came, Jeff Hardy had been in TNA before, so you know it was kind of different. But I kind of felt like this last time he got the belt was because you know they didn't want him to leave. He makes money for them, and they didn't want him to go. And I kind of felt like he was just given the belt for that purpose. And I felt like Austin Aries was taken off of him, you know, just for that reason. Having Bully Ray get it, I'm cool with it because I feel like he has worked his ass off, you know, since he's been in TNA. You know, he didn't just show up. He's been in TNA for some years, since, 2000, what has it been, 2006, 7, something like that?
I don't remember the last time.
They came in a tag team, you know, they had their programs as a tag team. They ran its course with that, you know, they feuded with the Steiner brothers, they had to start putting teams together to have Team 3D fight.
I want to say, you know, it was around 06, because they left right before the new ECW kicked off. And then they did the whole Death to ECW thing. You know what I mean?
I know I got a DVD called TNA's Tag Teams with the Naturals on it.
Oh.
Naturals and America's Most Wanted. I know Team 3D is on there with LAX, Christopher. I know they're part of that DVD. So,
yeah.
And a Voodoo Kid, yeah. So it's around that time. Mm-hmm. And when he left, he wasn't given, you know, I don't really remember him really. You know, he had one title shot. I think he got. Against Bobby Roode, he didn't win, you know. So to have him do it now, I just think the whole Aces and Eights thing, to me, I've never been a fan of bikers and all that other stuff. Just like I haven't been fans of like the cowboy gimmicks and stuff. So it just kind of doesn't fit because he's supposed to be this bully, like this gang type dude, and he's in charge of. He's supposed to be like this urban gang, you know, gang dude, and he's supposed to be the president of these bikers, and then you got Devon, who just seems out of place, and it just seems weird the way they did it. I don't understand the whole Aces and Eights gimmick type thing, you know. But I'm glad that it wasn't Hogan. I'm glad it wasn't Bischoff. I'm glad it wasn't just your typical whatever, you know. I would have been okay if it was somebody like I would even have been okay if it was somebody like Abyss or somebody, you know, not as Joseph Park, but in a different type of role or something. But you know, just someone, just not the typical, just not NWO. I know, same thing with ROH. People were talking about Scum. I don't know any of these guys. Well, that's the same thing that happened with when Nexus came out. I mean, you have to give people say they want to see new people get spots, and then when these newer people get these spots, they get upset.
Right.
You know, they want to see these bigger names in it. And when these bigger names do get in these groups, then they say, oh, that's just the NWO. I mean, last time TNA had all big names in a group, people still bitching about it. It was called the Main Event Mafia. Ugh. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you got to make your mind what you want. What do you want? I was, you know, before Matt Hardy joined, I remember posting like 2 days before, I was saying I can tolerate Matt Hardy in ROH if he joins Scum, because it seems like that's something, a role that he would have a purpose in. Like, you know, it just would make sense for him to be in that role, but just not running around trying to get title shots and this, that, and the other. Put him in a role where, you know, they can generate heat and he can really be of some use. And I'm fine with Matt Hardy if he stays in that corner of, you know, stays in his place there. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I just for somebody like Bully Ray to get, you know, attacked, because PC was giving it to him. I mean, giving it to him. And, I mean, it could have been worse. It could have been Rob Terry. It could have been Jeff Hardy turned around and hit Bully Ray with the hammer. It could have been Hogan or Brooke Hogan or somebody stood in the ring, or Jason Hervey, or it could have been just the same old shit that's been going on for the last, I don't know how many years. And when someone decides, I mean, Bully Ray's never been champion before, like you said, anywhere. And I don't think this was something like, you know, he was just handed to him. Like, looking back, and the way that he did it was, because I did go back and look at that match. the way they did it was that they did something that's different. Usually, they won't have a person get touched who's part of the group, but he was sitting up there even up into that match, beating up his own people to try to even swerve people and be like, okay, well, he can't be in it because he's beating up why would he beat up his own guys? You know what I'm saying? Just for him to turn around and be in it. I mean, when you saw Hogan walk down to the ring, you're like, oh, what is he doing down here now? You know what I'm saying? Maybe that, is he going to turn on Bully Ray, and was it him the whole time, or?
Well, I didn't watch it because I'm not really attached to TNA in any way, shape, or form. Just I don't know. Nothing interests me, I guess. But as far as Bully Ray being world champion, like you said, there could be far worse people they could have put the belt on. And usually, I don't like to make that to say that because I think that's kind of bullshit. But at the same time, they had an opportunity to turn Bully Ray, to get major heat on Bully Ray, and now they have an opportunity to make a face. Whoever that is, I mean, I don't know. I would take the opportunity to make someone brand new. Even if that means Bully holding the title for a while. But the opportunity is now there to make a star for TNA if they want to do it. Now, that's the big question. Can they? Can they make a star out of this situation?
Yes, they can.
And if you go on their past, on their track record, I don't think so.
I think they did it with Bobby Roode.
But it's not the same situation, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, in this situation where it's so easy, and I point to Bobby Roode and Austin Aries. Austin Aries kind of had the buzz already, and he was ramping up. You and I both know that Roode should have held that title for at least another 3 or 4 months.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm not doubting that. What I'm saying is this: I just think they aren't committed to storylines. When it comes to Bobby Roode, I believe Bobby Roode didn't win there. They needed they wanted to turn him heel or whatever, and I enjoyed Bobby Roode's heel, his run. I will say that. Like, I think he was a great heel. I think that how can I put it? Okay, I want to say that when Bobby Roode first started, I didn't have that much faith in Bobby Roode. I was like, nah, they could have got somebody else. Bobby Roode just doesn't seem like the guy that's going to do it, but he did. Bobby Roode did it. And when Austin Aries, he shouldn't have won that title at that time. I just kind of felt like the stuff that was done, the decisions they make are responsive to other stuff. I kind of felt like Austin Aries won that belt because CM Punk was hot. And they wanted to go that route with someone who was similar. And they did that. And then with, like I said, the reason why Jeff got it was for that purpose, etc. But they do have people that they can do it with. And I just feel like they need to raise those guys. It's about how you book these people, giving these people opportunities. I mean, there are people who probably could be better if they were taken out of just foolishness. Like, for example, I haven't seen too many, and I'm just throwing his name out there. I don't know how he is in the ring. But, for example, somebody like Robbie E., lose that gimmick. I mean, even if he's a bad wrestler, then forget I said that, because I haven't seen any of his matches like to that degree. But lose that gimmick. No one cares. That's stale. That Jersey Shore gimmick, it's done. Why is he still wrestling like that? Why is he still doing that? I mean, even when it came to Jay Lethal when he was there, that Black Machismo gimmick had ran its course. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he became to the point now where up until recently, with this whole thing with Kevin Steen, I always saw Jay Lethal as a gimmick.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I'm just saying, like, as far as they could have had 2 stars with Austin Aries and Bobby Roode. And it's not like Roode and Aries aren't draws right now, but they could have been the guys for years to come. And instead
they got Eric Young.
Instead, now look at where they are. They're in the tag team division. why the
They don't belong there.
why the fuck would you do that? Why on earth would you do that? I could see doing that with someone that's been on top for 4 years, and you just throw them in a tag team with someone else to kind of just try something new.
Well, let me ask you this: are you saying that they? See, I think I misunderstand what you're saying. I'm not saying that they will do it. I'm saying that they have the ability to do it, but they won't. Like, for example, they have the potential. They have people there who could be, champion. But
yeah, I'm not saying that they don't have the guy there. I don't know if they do or not. I don't watch it anymore really. But
you saying they won't do it?
I'm saying that
Oh yeah, I
based on
agree with you on that. Then okay, I was confused. I thought you were saying that they don't have anybody there. No, I think they have somebody there. I just think that I was surprised they kept Bobby Roode with that belt for that long. And one thing I want to say about Bully Ray is that he might have the belt for longer. I mean, because just for the simple fact that they don't have pay-per-views every month now. If they got one pay-per-view a quarter, I mean, he could have that belt for a stretch just based off the fact that he may not have to defend it unless they have him lose it on TV or whatever.
I can speak from my own experience. I wanted to be a hero.
Sorry about that. Video popped up.
That's cool. But I mean, that's how it is with that. But I mean, one thing I will say that PC said that I do agree with, and as soon as he said it, I was already thinking it. Like literally, I was thinking it, and then it came out of his mouth. And this right here is something that would really just be sad. Is that they setting it up. Hogan has said, like I think last year or the year before that, he wouldn't mind another run as champion.
Yeah.
And it's true. It seems like they're gonna set that match up somehow, some way. Where it's going to be Bully Ray versus Hulk Hogan.
And
that's something that should not happen.
Yeah, that's the kind of nonsense that keeps me far, far away. So, no, I don't.
But then again, most of these guys shouldn't be wrestling at all. Flair shouldn't be wrestling. Yep. I love Sting. Sting shouldn't be wrestling. The only one in TNA that I feel like is that I can't even say he's an older guy because he can still go, but deserves to be there. That's is Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
He's the only one. I mean, for the life of me, I don't understand why Ken Anderson, Ken Kennedy, whatever it is, why he was ever champion and why he's there. I don't understand why. I don't understand what the purpose of him being on payroll is. I don't know why.
Look, I don't mind if you're 40, 42, whatever. As long as you can still wrestle, that's fine with me. But if you're 42 years old and you obviously don't have anything in the tank, and all you're holding on to is a match you had in 1987, then just please.
Yeah, 40's fine. 40's not. I mean, you got some 40-year-olds that can go, and some of them, if they didn't tell you they were 40, I mean, you got to look it up and be like, oh, damn, man, this is their age. But I'm talking about guys that are 50 and 60. I'm talking about guys in their 60s. Nowhere in the world are you 60 years old and you're wrestling someone who could be your grandson. And I mean, like Ric Flair. Ric Flair has no business at all in a pair of wrestling tights. Period.
Right.
Period. For no reason whatsoever should he even know at all. There's no reason why this man should be in tights, period. Hogan has no business being in any tights, period. Any type of wrestling ring wrestling, taking any type of bumps, they should be graduated to backstage or management roles. You cut group promos still. Come out there, cut your promo if you want to. Don't take up too much time. Put the guys over. Just like Dutch Mantel. Who wants to see him wrestle? Who wants to see Dutch Mantel wrestle? Not everybody can be a Papa Briscoe.
That's for damn true. That's for damn true. Well, I think that's going to do it for us here tonight. Again, not a whole lot of wrestling. We talked like an hour about just random shit. Maybe hour plus, but it's good to have those every once in a while. So,
pick up the new Michael Elgin DVD. Pick up the new Nigel McGuinness DVD. Pick up real quick, if you don't mind, you want to tell everybody what the next I think new TV starts this week, right?
I'm not positive on that. I haven't seen the promo for it yet, so I don't want to say for sure. But
it's got to be because we just had the last. They just showed the last Baltimore one.
Okay, I mean, one would think that would happen.
Unless they do Road Rage.
Which I still need to watch that actually. So I need to watch that last Baltimore one.
And then the next pay-per-view is
Super Card of Honor.
Yes, when Jay Lethal was crowned the ROH World Heavyweight Champion.
Okay.
You didn't believe me about Matt Taven. You didn't believe me about Matt Hardy Jordan. How many things did I call that you doubted?
Gosh.
Why don't you get... This is...
I'm not saying it couldn't happen. It's just that
You
made
didn't
me,
believe me about Red Dragon. You
that
didn't
made
believe
me
me about
laugh.
that.
that made me laugh. That's all. It's not that it can't
But
happen.
but it all happened though.
Okay. Maybe it will.
How much stuff did I call at that pay-per-view to happen? I called Red Dragon. I called winning. I called Taven winning. I called Matt Hardy joining Scum. But actually, I called everyone joining Scum. So.
Yeah, exactly. You just rattled off a list of names. This guy could join. This guy could join. You're bound to hit at least 25% of those. So
I'm interested to seeing what's going to happen to this TV. I was tempted. I was like, no, I can wait. Because it seemed like from reading it that they did a good job. They said episode 3, I guess the third episode from it's supposed to be awesome.
third episode, if I'm not mistaken, is the Scum episode. You know, we don't want to give away too many spoilers, but supposedly Scum fully takes over for episode 3. So we'll have to wait and see. The attendance that was reported was really disappointing to me, about between 400 and 500 people. So
That's the thing people were concerned about when they come to Baltimore. They were concerned about because see the thing is that they have an afternoon Sunday show and
going back to back, it's tough. That's rough for people. You can't expect the same crowd the night before to come back. You know, because a lot of those people are traveling from out of town, out of state. You know, you can't expect...
That's a lot of wrestling, man. I mean, to sit there, I will tell you this, no matter how good the action is, to sit in one spot for 4 hours, they have intermission and everything, but to sit there for 4 hours, because, I mean, one thing about Ring of Honor gives you a show at an affordable price. And if Paul Jordan, if you're listening, at one point, I know it's kind of past as far as what happened and we got the results, but if you could share your Ring of Honor experience, it'd be nice to be able to do that. And hopefully, somehow, some way, if the stars align correctly, we can get Lexicon to Texas for Ring of Honor.
That would be heavenly. I doubt it's going to happen, but that would be heavenly.
This is their first time going to Texas?
No. Last time they were there was 2009, WrestleMania weekend. They did Houston. I don't remember what. I think it was a super card that they did. I'm not 100%.
Who's in Texas? Is Stevie Ray? Is he close by where they're going?
Stevie's in Fort Worth, so he's a couple hours north of San Antonio.
Well, maybe we can get Lala on the show. I'm sure she's been.
Yeah, I think Lala would probably. Lala might even be wrestling that night. Who knows?
Shut up! In a dark match. And don't even.
Well, I think
find out.
I think it's just going to be a live event. I don't think it's going to be a pay-per-view or TV or anything like that. So.
If they did TV, what would you do if Lala popped up on there? I still think that I can't think. Lala, if you listen, I love you, but I don't mean no harm. When you wear the red, it reminds me either of the WWE Minis match. They used to have the Minis, like she would be a mini Mark Henry, or even like Gary Coleman in like Mark Henry cosplay. That's what she reminds me of.
If she popped up there, I'd have her get me backstage. So
I can see it now. Be like, this is real wrestling because I'm the best wrestler, women's wrestler.
She'd get me backstage, and then I'd run far away from her so I wasn't right next to her, because she's gonna cut a promo on everyone and get all the
everybody. And she I've never met her when she hasn't cut a promo. All they want to do is they want to fuck. They want to fuck. They want to sleep. They don't want to be a wrestler. And I'm a real wrestler.
I haven't heard her in a long time. I don't know where she went, but it'd be nice to hear.
Dixon, Texas.
So it'd be nice to hear her again.
What? You know why? Because y'all like share the same birthday, or hers like the day before yours or something.
Is it?
Yours the first, isn't it? And hers the 31st, or is it vice versa?
Mine's the 31st. I don't know about hers.
Hers is the first then. Hers is you guys are back to back.
How you know that? I don't know.
Because I remember on the rant singing happy birthday to both of y'all.
Oh, okay.
And it was
That's a
like,
good
and
thing.
Double A's like, all right, again. Happy birthday. But Nick French, he's from
Yeah, Nick's from.
he's Texas.
Is he from Houston? Where is he from?
Nick, if you're listening, send me a Skype and let me know if you're going or not.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And
Yeah,
if you're going, then send us a report on how the experience is.
yeah. Send us your ringside report. Let us know what happened. And Lee and I talked about this off the air last week, but I actually sat down and went through everything to see if I could go or not. And probably be about $1,000 to go for all the expenses and stuff like that, which is okay. But I don't think I can leave my family for a couple days to go spend $1,000 on wrestling. I don't know if I'm that selfish.
Let me ask you a question. Would it cost the same amount of money if you were to go to a show on the East Coast?
No, probably not. It costs even more.
I mean, how much would the difference would it be?
It's all about the plane ticket, so it'd probably be, I don't know. Let me look real quick.
Well, I'm just asking because, like, if you some of those see the thing is, where wrestling shows they don't say too far. Well, yeah, I mean ROH they give you in advance a couple of months or whatever. I mean, like for example, say if you wanted to go to Border Wars, you could have had your passport and everything, and
See, I need to pay for a passport and all that. I don't have a passport, or my wife does. She went to France or something, but she had it. Trying to figure out here. Okay, let's go. Let's look up flight here. So say I wanted to come to your neck of the woods there. We're gonna depart from Sacramento, and we're gonna arrive in Baltimore.
well, wait a minute. Before you start, are you doing this like if you were to do this tomorrow or this week, or are you doing this? Because I heard the further in advance you do it, the cheaper it is.
Right. So let's say for best in the world right now, which is June what?
Let's find out in a second.
It's June 22nd, something like that.
Yes, 22nd.
All right. So June 22nd. Anytime, fly out, get there anytime. Just me. No promo codes. Let's see how much. This is round trip, by the way. So, if I took like the most basic flight there, which is like non-refundable and all this junk, and I were to leave, at sometime in the morning, I'm looking at probably around $500. So it actually, if I were to book it right now, it wouldn't cost any much more than going to San Antonio. So, it just depends. Of course, San Antonio is around the same time, so that kind of surprises me that I'm going much further. And this is only one stop too. I'd only change planes in Seattle or whatever. Stop by to see Wario.
It's too far for Nick to go. But yeah, you could come to Baltimore, and you just have to stay over here.
Yeah.
Come the best in the world. But like you said, I mean, like me, for example, I ain't gonna lie. Like I'm like you. 2 days, whatever. I'm not leaving my family.
Yeah, it's too crazy. I've never been that far away on my own before, so that'd be really foreign to me. Trying to hail a cab or whatever, and that's just not me. So,
Like I think getting over there. I think the thing for me is like you said, being alone. And some people probably like, what? No, I'm gonna tell you, like, I've always been on the East Coast, and if I were to get all the way out there on my own, like without my family, and then there'd be this moment where it would hit me that, wait a minute, my family is all the way across the country,
right.
Not just like a couple of hours drive away. Like, not like I can just jump in a car and just be back in like 5 to 3, 4, 5 hours. No, like days away from me, a different time zone. That's like
it's hard. It's kind of,
especially I guess when you have children, not just the fact of like, I mean, when you got adults and stuff, that's one thing, but when you got children, and as much as they do little things, like I saw that You said your son like he ripped up or bent up something when you
Oh
was.
man, oh you got that was first thing in the morning too. It was like I bought a collector's edition of a game that I love, and I bought this 3 years ago or whatever, and I spent about $100 on it, and I walk into the office this morning, and there they are just sitting on the chair, all crumpled up and ripped open and shit like that. I see. I don't get mad. I just I get into that Bubba Ray stare, that far off look, and I just.
But he knows. Does he know what that means?
He hardly sees it. No, so I mean, and then I calmly take him into timeout and explain to him you can't rip up people's stuff. And then I go out into the living room and I just cuss. And I just,
Wait a minute, wait. See, this is the stuff that you are, because that's why you think everybody else is crazy, because you're so calm in a situation like that. You just told me you spent $100-some on something, and your son tore it up, and you saw it, and all you did was you just needed a moment just to stare and collect yourself about what had happened.
I was pretty pissed off.
Yeah, but it wasn't, you didn't project it out. And then you just walked him to his room nice and calm, sat him down, you explained to him calmly about what he did, and then you walked out and you let out. See, I respect you so much more for being able to do that, because I can't do that.
Well, I've learned in my short time as a parent that if I take him into timeout upset and angry, the more he fights the timeout. So, if I'm pissed and I'm like, come on, let's go, he's going to go in there and he's going to be trying to get away and this and that. If I take his hand and quietly walk him into his room, and he'll walk over to his little, we have like a kind of like a sofa in there. He'll walk over to the sofa, sit down, he'll whine about it, but, it's a lot better than him fighting it. So I've learned that at least.
See, what I do with my children is what I've done with my daughter. My son, he's down with it now. Like, I gotta just straight up tell him, look, you're not playing the game.
Right,
and then,
right.
But with my daughter, what I did with her was, it got to the stage where she was just unfazed by, just I'm taking this away, because in her mind she's like, okay, I'm gonna get it right. So I had to be like, you know what? All your toys. I needed her to feel what I was feeling, so she understand what she had done. So I got a trash bag and dumped all her toys in it.
Right.
And I pretend like I went down, I went out to the back and I pretend like I was putting it in the trash. And she's just bawling and bawling and bawling. Now, obviously, I didn't throw those toys out because I paid for those toys.
Right, exactly.
And I kept them in the basement for about a couple of weeks, and she thinks those toys are gone, And then, when it's all said and done, she's going to get some back. But she just needed to feel that pain of, you took something was just taken away. Because otherwise, I mean, it's... But your son's younger, though. So, I mean, maybe he didn't...
He's not fazed by taking stuff away, because he just goes to the next thing. And it gets to that point where, like you said, you have to start taking everything away. So,
doesn't that irritate you, too, when they don't care, when you try to... you think you're doing something, they look at you like, I don't give a damn.
Right, because he just...
And in their little baby mind, they, kind of saying, is that supposed to hurt me?
Like, I couldn't do that as a kid. Like, if my parents knew to get to me, they had to take away my video game system.
Yeah.
Because I didn't do anything else, really. Everything was kind of focused around video games. I remember I got a bad report card in, 7th grade, and they took my PS2 away from me. And I had just gotten that PS2. And so I had to find out where they put it. And, they would both work, and I'd be at home for a couple hours. And I'd have to find out where they hid it. I'd go grab it, and they didn't hide it in a very good place, by the way. They hid it in their nightstand drawer, and so I'd grab it and I'd hook it up as soon as I got home, and I'd play as much as I could until I saw my mom's car passing by the window, and as soon as I heard that garage door open, As soon as I
played as much as I could.
as soon as I heard the garage door open, it was time to quickly save. And in anybody that knows PS2, it kind of takes a bit to save. You can't take it out while it's saving. So you save as quick as you can, and then you unhook everything, just rapid pace. Take that shit, throw it back in the dresser, and then run back into your room like nothing was wrong. And hope.
They never caught you?
And no, never. And hope to, just hope and pray that they don't come talk to you first thing, because you're out of breath from running from room to room trying to get this back in there. So, eventually I got to the point where I got good enough grades to keep it in my room. But
now, were your parents the type where if they said you were punished for 3 weeks, you were punished for 3 weeks, or did they cave in?
No, they usually caved in, and I didn't get a lot of that. But that at that point, that was serious, because they kept it for a couple weeks, and it was like, it was killing me, because like I said, I just got it, and I just got Madden 2002, and I was like, yes, this is next-gen gaming, and I'm freaking out and everything like that, because going from PlayStation to PlayStation 2 was like, like going from no glasses to glasses. Everything was blurry, and then everything was clear, so I was really pumped about that, but I can't do that with my son. Like, if I take away his Nintendo systems, he'll just go on to the next thing. And be okay
Because
with
we've
it.
given them to see a lot. I think that one of the things is that when we have children, especially when they're younger, especially boys, because we're men, we don't just buy them toys for them. We buy toys for us too, and we use the excuse that it's for them.
Yeah, that's true. Like the PlayStation, he plays it more than I do, I'd say, and that's supposed to be my system, but it is what it is, I guess.
I mean, like, and admittedly, you mentioned something about your parents hiding and not doing a good enough job. I asked myself the question. I was like, how? Because my parents would do stuff, and I'd be like, that just wasn't very smart. I mean, they think I'm stupid, and I asked myself the question: Am my children like getting one over on me? Do I think that I'm, because like you said, my son, like he's into video games. Like if I take his video games away, that's his world. He's crushed.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's it for him. Video games is all he talks, eats, sleeps. I mean, from the time he jumps up, like, I can go in the room and check on him, and as soon as, he jumps up, like, Daddy, guess what? I just cleared it. And I'm like, just straight into it, and then he'll lay back down and fall back to sleep like nothing ever happened. Now, my daughter, she's into one thing. If I take that away, like you said, she moves on to the next thing. She could care less. I mean,
That's crazy.
I don't know.
It's crazy. Like, yeah. Well, you're a former man of the cloth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to finish off with it. What do you think of all this Pope nonsense?
Oh, I don't do that. I was never. It's funny because growing up, I went to a Catholic school and a Lutheran school, but I went to a Baptist church. And then when I got older, I was at a apostolic church, and I've never been I was never into Catholicism. I mean, it was never something that really made. I just remember all I remember was when John Paul II had passed. Was 2005. It was around the same time when my son was born, and I remember I was in the basement and I was watching TV, and I had my son, and I went all the way downstairs because it was my wife was tired. I was like, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and take him the furthest place in the house away from her so she can just get some rest. And I was already working nights and everything, and I think I was off this night. And I remember just cutting on the TV, and they were making this big deal about, the Pope. And they were like, we got to find a new Pope. We got to find a new Pope. We got to find a Pope. And then they get this new Pope who, I don't know why, this guy always looked like the Emperor from Star Wars, Palpatine. He always looked like the Emperor after he got all scarred in the face, to me. And then he kind of, just left. But yeah, I don't mess with, no, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to offend anybody. I don't know who's Catholic and who's not, but yeah, I don't mess with all that.
I'm definitely tired of hearing about it. That's for sure. Because every single joke you hear is about the Pope and this and that. So anyway, so
well, because you've been on the. How do you? What you hear on Facebook or something?
Yeah, Facebook. Pretty much anything that I watch or listen to has something about the Pope or something.
Only thing I saw with the Pope, the only thing was I saw a picture of Yoda dressed like the Pope, and then I saw one of my friends was like name movies with where you can take the name out and put Pope in. So he put Pope. What did he put? He put Pope Fiction.
Oh, okay, I get it.
And I put Purple Rain.
Someone this morning had like 3 Pope jokes in a row, and it was all wrestling related. So it's like, breaking news: new Pope elected, and then it shows Dolph Ziggler with the Money in the Bank briefcase, saying, "I'm here to show the world." Which, by the way, stop making those fucking things. God, I hate that.
What's that? Those
the "I'm here to show the world" with Dolph Ziggler. I can't stand that shit.
Where is our Pope? Where's he been?
Making movies, I guess.
Well, you know what? I'm still trying to figure out where was he at in Batman, because I don't remember seeing
him. He was
that.
like a guard.
So is he one of those people who like he was gone for? You know how they say somebody was gone for like 4 or 5 months to tape a movie, and then you see him for a split second, non-credited, and they're under a mask, or you don't even know it's them.
Well, you watched The Walking Dead, right?
Yeah.
Was it The Walking Dead? Maybe not. I forget who it was now, actually. No, it wasn't. You watched Dexter?
My cousin was asking about that, or no, the guy on my job I think was. I've never seen a show of that. That's the guy where he goes around killing people or something?
Yeah. Basically, there's a guy on there. He's not a major character or anything, but, he has speaking line, or he has a speaking role and reoccurring and this and that. He's been on for a few seasons. But he was in Batman, and literally his part is the newest Batman. You've seen the newest one, right?
Yeah.
Where Batman's trying to cross the bridge, and the guy tells him to go fuck himself because if he crosses it, they all die. Well, it's that guy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and that part is literally a few seconds long.
Yeah.
And, so it's like, well, this guy gets this somewhat big part over here in Dexter, yet he can only get a few seconds on Batman,
Well, that's like, well, I will say this, like, when Triple H played in Blade 3, he was in there pretty much. He had a pretty decent amount of time, but, like, when The Rock was when he was gone all that time, and he was in the first one wasn't the Scorpion King. The first one was, he had a part in, where did Scorpion King come from? Scorpion King came from, what was the movie with Brendan Fraser? I forget what it's called.
The Mummy.
The Mummy.
Yeah.
Well, when they showed him, it was like his likeness. It was like a CGI Rock. It wasn't even him, and I was like, this motherfucker went away all that time just for that. But yeah, I mean, like that's like I don't know if you ever heard of a movie called Breakin'.
Yeah.
Came in. Well, Jean-Claude Van Damme is in that, and he's dancing. It's a beach scene, and he's getting down. I mean, you would never know that Jean-Claude Van Damme is getting down and breaking.
And Breakin' is it Breakin' that has the broom scene? Or is that Breakin'?
Yes.
Okay.
Breakin' had the broom scene, and Electric Boogaloo had the one where he was walking on the ceilings in his room.
Yeah.
But Breakin' was the one with the broom.
I showed that to my wife, because I was sweeping one day, and I started doing that with the broom and shit. And she didn't
I think every child who's seen that movie has tried that.
She didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was like, it's from Breakin'. And she goes, I don't know what that is. And I had to show her the clip and everything. And
well, when you go back and you look at that, you can see the string when you get older on the broom. But when you're younger, you couldn't see those strings. It was like the coolest thing.
And I was getting the biggest kick out of watching this broom dance. And she was like, I don't get it. What? Like, he's dancing with the broom. I was like, yeah, but it's levitating and shit. He's that good. And of course, Chappelle made fun of it. That was pretty good too.
That's right, he did. That's right, he did. Wow.
All right. So if you want to find us, other than where you're listening to us right now, you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Ringside Report. You can find us on Twitter at Ringside Podcast. Our YouTube page where we store all of our past episodes is youtube.com/Ringside Report TWR. And if you want to get a hold of us via email, ringsidereporttwr@gmail.com. So I think that's about it for us tonight. Thank you very much to everybody who joined us in the chat room and stuck with us for almost 3 hours here. It was a lot of fun.
Has it been 3 hours?
Yeah, nearly.
Oh, I got one more thing. It's going to be real quick, and then I'm shutting up. I just want to say, because Nick just mentioned something about ROH TV. Sinclair Broadcasting, I'm not sure if Lex said this last week. He may have had just purchased some more stations,
Yeah,
I believe.
they
So
got a bunch
check,
of-
because you might be able to get it on TV now
Yeah,
in your area.
I listed those in the group page, so join our group page, look for that listing, and see if Ring of Honor is now on in your area. Of course, it's not on in mine now. Very far from it, but that's okay. At least they're getting more stations. That's what matters. So, but if anything else that you wanted to get out there before we head on out?
No, that's everything. That's everything. Glad we got a chance to do this show. I need that laugh, and I just need,
You got a big one tonight, that's for sure. Again,
Man, I haven't laughed like that in a long time.
I could tell. You almost died from laughing that hard, but that's okay because
What? It's okay if I died? I'm just
Well,
joking.
we would go through a process, of course, and then we would elect our new pope, as it were. But really, Ringside Report is all about having fun. So, there's no structure, there's no beefs, there's no drama here, just us being goofy bastards. So, I would play music to play us out, but YouTube has been giving me shit. So, until we make a proper intro and outro, we're just gonna have to say thank you for listening. Until next time, for Lee, I am Lex. Good night, folks.
Papers.